galaxy near you. This is Brothers in Booze. And here are your hosts, Greg Washington and Doug Ziegler.
Hey, welcome to Brothers and Booze. What's up, Doug?
What's going on, man?
Happy African American Music Month.
Yes, sir.
History.
Yeah.
Something.
I had honestly never heard of that person before, but man, that lady could play the guitar.
Yeah, she rocks, literally. And goes to show you, we've been having a lot of discussions about music and rock music and black people. And yeah, good times. Doug, what are you drinking before we get to our fully packed show here?
Yeah, so I'm going to start on our National Bourbon Day. I pulled out the last bit of this, which is Cooper's Daughter. It is a whiskey finished in black walnut syrup barrels. So it's not like a true bourbon. Like if you're a bourbon head, you're going to be like, that's not bourbon. That's okay. I'm okay with that. So yeah, going to have a little bit of that before we get into the beer. Funny thing about this is there's like, because I've had this, it's the black walnut, like had this really cool nutty flavor to it. That's really lovely. Mm-hmm. So cheers.
Cheers.
What about you? What do you got?
I think this is appropriate for the time. I have Gay Agenda, Doug.
Oh, yeah.
Gay Agenda. Mm-hmm. Looks like a looks like a gay guy here, and then he has dogs with laser beams. Laser beams.
Freaking laser beams.
Yeah, it says here. Let me get my old man goggles on. I see you have yours on already,
dude. I wear these all the time in the show so I can read what the fuck we're doing. So yes.
Yeah, I'm resisting. 10% of all profits from Gay Agenda will be lovingly donated to Chicago's T-PAN organization, Doug. T-PAN saves lives by providing HIV-related information and support services to those who need, free of charge. www.tpan.com. This is from Illuminated Brew Works from Chicago. It's a 7.5 double dry hopped double IPA with peaches.
With peaches?
Mm-hmm. This is highly hopped, is very juicy. You can see how, I don't know if you can see how thick it is here.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell, like, just the brightness of the color of it, too, is like, ooh.
Yeah. So you got that.
Nice.
Very nice, Doug. Very nice. We got, I think we have a full pack show here. So we're going to get to this real quick. Doug, you first with the past guest news.
All right. So this is our friend Amanda Diber, who's been on the show a few times and who is also coming, as you can see below, on August 2nd. We're having her back on. This is her talking about It's June and I'm a Lesbian Mom. That is an article she wrote on Medium talking about her experience as a queer mom in the way today's society is. It's a really lovely article. And, Amanda's the goods. We love her. So I would highly recommend reading that. So really excited to have her back, though. It's been it's going on 2 years since we had her on. You believe that?
Wow. Time flies when you're, I guess, having fun, right?
Yeah. I like to think we have fun, right? Yeah. So I'm.
All right. We'll see. We'll talk about We'll talk about this to Amanda. All about that on August 2nd, looks like.
Yep.
Great. Oh, look at this, Doug.
Ooh.
Looks like Angie's going to have our friend from Ancestors in Alcohol and IG here, Being in Black, June 17th, Monday. So check in on Angie, y'all. Always entertaining. And next Tuesday, y'all, if you're in Madison, I will be doing my Juneteenth marketplace with Giant Jones. It's going to be fun. 4 to 5, 6 vendors, nice food truck. all the things.
And all great beer because it's Giant Jones and they make great beer. So
You already know about that.
that I do.
Right. So we were supposed to have a co-host tonight, y'all. He's having technical difficulties, but now he's not. So now he's here.
Welcome, Jason.
Hello. Thanks for
How you doing,
sorry
man?
about the problem. Hopefully,
All right.
it's all worked out. I've been having internet issues. We have a storm brewing. It's coming here outside soon. And every time I have a storm,
It's kind of clunky, huh?
my internet. So,
Yeah.
Well,
hopefully I'm hooked
no
up now.
worries, Jason. No worries. It's nice to see you.
Yeah.
And as you already know, we're problems, so you're joining a problem.
Nice.
So it's perfect. You fit right in. In.
Yes, sir.
And I suspect you're going to fit right in with what you have to drink. You have something to drink?
Well, I have a few things. I have bourbon and beer, so I thought for National Bourbon Day that I would make up like a cocktail right now.
Oh, sweet.
I'm going to make a Kentucky Mule. That's all right. So I'm going to. You guys like mules? It's one of my favorite things. It's one of my favorite things to drink in the summertime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more of a gin and tonic.
Not the. What's the mule? Because we're not talking about the animal, right? I mean,
Moscow Mule.
No, so a mule like for a mule cocktail, you're just gonna pretty much have ginger beer and lime juice and whatever spirits you have. I got some Woodford here, so I'm gonna pour some of that in there.
Oh,
Woodford,
see,
baby.
Doug? I did not know that, Doug. I did not know that.
And I got already lime prepared, so squeeze my lime.
Man, he's doing it. I'd be measuring
He's
everything.
doing the whole ass thing, Doug.
There we go.
I know.
Yes.
Hopefully, you have the requisite
Pour
mule
that little
mug.
mixture there, and then I'm gonna top it off with some ginger beer.
Hopefully, you have the proper mule mug to go with it.
Oh, did I freeze it again?
Yes, you did, sir. It happens.
Oh, am I frozen? Or is that you?
Yeah, now you're back a little bit. You did a little Max Headroom thing there for a minute. That just shows my age.
Cheers.
There, cheers.
Max Headroom. Holy shit.
Let me see if I can go to my hotspot.
Max
I
Headroom.
think we're all men of a certain age, so yeah, we
Oh,
can.
that's awful, Doug.
Yeah.
It's awful and it's funny and it's terrible and it's great.
Yeah, I love this part where when Jason was making his cocktail, Daniel Fisher, measure with your heart. Like I use if I make cocktails, I'm like I need all the jiggers and I need to make sure I'm doing everything exact.
Yeah, I mix
Wait, what you call me?
Yeah, I didn't call you nothing.
Yeah, so
I was just making sure everything's going.
All right,
It doesn't go off the rails, dog. Just making sure.
all right. All right, Jason.
Anywho.
So how is that cocktail then?
it's my favorite summer when it's hot outside. My favorite cocktail to have.
Yeah.
Nice and refreshing. So yeah, it's
Like nobody make a Negroni.
But no, I if I'm making my drinks at home, I eyeball it.
Yeah. Well,
I
if
also
you
have a couple
made it
beers
enough,
back here from single cut. I got 2 single cut beers back here too.
single
A
cup.
chocolate milk stout and a Hefeweizen.
Is the chocolate milk stout the one called Eric?
No, it's yeah, Eric.
Yeah.
Eric more cowbell it says. Yeah.
Oh, that's more cowbell. That's a different version than the one I've had. I had like the regular Eric, which was excellent. So we'll get to that later.
Yeah. That's great.
You had the
So
regular.
I see you guys
Eric.
are both wearing your Dad 2 shirts. I couldn't find mine.
Yes.
Come on, Jason.
Yes. So let's give a little introduction before we get to our guest. I think we'll have more than one. I guess we should. I guess we will at some point. So just for those who are not in the know, the Dad 2.0 conference is right here. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Was a dad conference that basically was an online. It was dads for like dad bloggers and influencers and companies that wanted to mingle with said influencers and said dads. I was sent there with the National At-Home Dad Network. That's where it started for me. And the reason that Doug and I feel that we should have a reunion show is because without the Dad 2.0, I would not be known as this silly guy as Daddy Porter, because I got my idea there from Doug French. Shout out to Doug French.
Yeah.
And he also was the one who motivated me and gave me a little gas to say, hey, why aren't you doing this? What are you doing? What's going on? Why aren't you talking? Why aren't you getting your voice out there? So a couple years later, I came in with Daddy Porter. So we have that. And then I met Doug in the Facebook lounge, y'all. Yes. This is how this magic works, y'all. It's magical, isn't it, Doug?
Magical. Magic.
And I don't know, a couple months later, I approached Doug because I knew that he, knew a lot about Scotch and not a lot about beer. And I thought it would be a good combination because I know a lot about beer. And I just didn't want a show where there's two geeky beer people drinking beer. I mean, you can find that anywhere. And now you can find it here because now we have two geeky people who drink beer, Doug. What the fuck happened, dude?
Hey, I wanted to fit in, Greg. I'm sorry.
The fuck. Anyway, but without that 2.0 thing, y'all, I wouldn't be doing this. Doug and I have been doing this for how long, Doug?
4 years. Going on 4 years, yeah.
On top of the myriad of friends that we make, two of our co-hosts we met at the Dad 2.0 conference, Casey and Lauren. We have to acknowledge them. They are busy doing other busy, crazy things like they do. So otherwise, they would be here tonight. And Jason's another dad that we met at Dad 2.0.
For sure.
And I've enjoyed many late night conversations with Jason. So many.
Yeah.
And just like a lot of people at Dad 2.0. So we wanted to have a bunch of the dads on tonight to talk about the positive, talk about everything about the Dad 2.0, positive or negative. But for me, it was always mostly positive. It became almost like a family reunion every year. We would see each other. We knew that we would all be there at that same place. So there were times where it was even hard for us to make it financially. People bending schedules, families bending schedules so that we could make the trip to see our dad friends. We learned a lot as far as parenting goes. We learned a lot as far as branding goes. I just learned a lot across the board. It was just an amazing time. So that's why we're having this celebration of fatherhood. I really couldn't pick better dads to talk about fatherhood on this weekend, Doug. So, I mean, it all worked, Doug. I'll let you follow up. We'll get to Jason, and then after that, we'll start bringing in on some dads.
Sounds good to me. I will just say that Dad 2.0 has had a bigger influence on my life than sometimes I actually
look at
realize.
This guy.
Yeah, that.
Sorry, look at that guy.
That guy. Oh no.
Yeah, shout out to Art Eddie.
Yeah.
Look at this. Here's another one.
Michael
What's up,
Kaufman,
Michael
man.
Kaufman?
Yeah.
Some OGs are coming up here.
Yeah, that's OG guy.
Yes.
Along with Jason. Jason's more OG than I am for sure. So I will just say that it encouraged me to. Yes, Mike, it is this weekend. Goof.
We'll get to that in a second, I think. But
I think.
Yeah.
But it's something, hearing the encouraging things for like writing was something that I always liked doing, and I just started doing it, and I kind of got pulled into it, into the group, the Orrin Miller group. We'll talk about Orrin, I'm sure, this round because, the influence of him, even though Dad 2.0 isn't anymore, he still looms large in a lot of our lives just for how he was able to bring a whole host of people together that would never have otherwise had been brought together. I want to give Jason an actual real special shout out because him and Jeff Bogle used to talk about my writing like in such glowing terms that I was so embarrassed, but like proud at the same time. And I just wanted to say thanks for that because that actually helped me keep going. And so I really appreciate that, Jason, specifically.
Well, I've said before that I think you're a great writer, and I've always enjoyed how you put your heart out into your words. So.
Yeah, I haven't done that in a while, thanks to my kids getting older. But
yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
So, Jason, do you want to give your recap of how, what was the impact of Dad 2 on you? What was your vision of it? What stood out? All that.
So Dad 2 it changed my life. I mean, it really did. I say a lot that Dad 2 was kind of like summer camp when you're growing up, that you go off and you learn all these different skills and then you go play later. And so it was a lot of that. Like, so I would go and I would learn about how to become a better writer. I'd learn about branding. I'd network with
You're a little frozen up there, Jason.
Oh no!
I kicked out. Am I back?
No, I can hear you, but your screen's still frozen. So there we go. A little bit coming in. A little bit coming in. Here we go.
Well, I tried to switch into my hotspot out of my internet, so let's see if that'll work better. But no, I was saying that it just changed my life because I was able to, learn about how to, blog and how to, work with brands, and then hang out with some great people in the evening, out really all day long. And it also gave me a place. I think I said it in our own private chat room, Dad Blogger chat room earlier, that I've always had a hard time feeling like I fit in.
Mm-hmm.
I never feel like I fit in anywhere I go, but there was something about Dad 2 where I always felt that I was home, that I was around other people that were, similar to me, or they made me feel like I was a part of a family. And so I always felt like I belonged when I was around my brothers at Dad 2.
I will say there is this comment, which is actually very true. It also capitulated. Sexiest man alive. One of my favorite Jason Green pieces.
It's always kind of embarrassing about the sexiest man alive piece, but it really quickly how that whole thing started was when I wrote a blog post one year about that stay-at-home dads were the sexiest men alive because women are always saying that men who cook and clean are sexy, and I always say that you don't see that on People magazine. It's always some ripped guy. It's on there. Some celebrity. So I just made like a tongue-in-cheek sort of a blog post about stay-at-home dads are the sexiest men alive. And then I forgot about it that I wrote it. In the following year, I got like thousands of views a day from people searching who the sexiest man alive is. And so I thought, I have to capitalize on this. And so then I wrote a blog post of why I'm sexier than all the sexiest men alive from past covers. And it just turned into sort of a gag and running joke. And then Doug French asked me to read it at one of the, Dad 2 conferences. When he first asked me, I said, I've written some pretty good stuff that, some more like, tearjerker type kind of things. And he's like, no, I want you to read this.
Was that the year that I read there?
I think it was the following year. Yeah, okay. The following year.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. It was the following year because
I got warned about you because yours was so long when we were supposed to read in like under 5 minutes, and Doug last year went in like 10 minutes.
It was funny. He had the clock in front of me, and I cut like a whole section of it out that I was reading because I was trying not to just speed read because I was terrified.
Mhm.
And I was like, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like slowing down and I realized, oh, I'm like 2 minutes over. I need to like cut it.
Yeah.
And thank you. And walked off the stage. So sorry that I was the example of what not to do there.
No, yours was great. You had me in tears when you were reading. So yeah.
Good times.
Good times.
Doug, what's going on with your beverage?
All right. Since I finished my bourbon, I wanted to actually talk about this because I got this. This is Freem Brewing out of Oregon. This is the gold medal winner in the World Championships of Beer. They won second place in the Pilsner category against Pilsner makers in Germany. That's fucking impressive. So a friend of mine, his son is the barrel age guy for this brewery.
Oh, this brewery.
Yeah.
This brewery.
Yeah. So Greg, I wished I had more of these because you would absolutely love this beer. So I had a sample of it, but he gave me a can. I'm like, well, I got to have this on the show because this. When I show you how this looks, look how fucking crispy that looks.
That's a beauty.
This is Greg's
great glassware.
Yeah. Well, it's a Pilsner's Urkel, so I had to use a Pilsner glass for it. So. But man, I will tell you, I had this the other night, and it's so crispy and perfect, and just one of the best Pilsners I've ever had. So,
Really?
yeah. So, and I've had a few. I like Pilsners, and I like trying them at breweries. So, cheers. God, that's good.
All right. Wow.
You got to crack open a beer too now.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah,
Right?
and then we'll get to our official list. I got one here though because Doug's over there trying to make me jealous.
Yeah.
I will return in kind.
Oh, it's gonna be a Giant Jones, isn't it? God damn it!
Giant Jones.
Oh, it's a sparkling ale.
Doug, this is the only Giant Jones beer below 7%.
That's impressive.
Yeah, 4.5.
Wow, that's really low for them.
Telling you. Maybe it's a trend. We'll see.
Yeah.
You know, Doug, once the seal is broken, this is light, crisp, not heavy at all. Probably a lot like what you had, Doug. It has a little bit of carbonate. It feels like soda-like carbonation.
I said it was sparkling ale, so.
No, right. Yeah, it's good. It's fun. It's the summer one. What's up, Jason? What do you got?
I am drinking the chocolate milk stout, the single cut chocolate milk stout. So the brewery is really close to my house, like a mile and a half away. On my runs, I go by it, and so I went in, I grabbed a couple 4-packs.
Oh, nice.
It's a beautiful little bar too. If you're ever in Queens, come to Single Cut. They have a nice little bar too.
So one thing Queens has, it's a lot of common parts. Everybody remembers that quote from Coming to America.
I love that movie.
Yeah, me too. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that one. I've had the regular version of that, and it's really good. So
yeah.
Yep. Before we bring someone on, Greg, we need to address this. You're summoning him, Art. Don't do that.
He's wearing a pink bathrobe somewhere.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead, Greg. Sorry.
Yeah. No. We have this. So,
it is nice to talk to you guys. I missed you guys.
Yeah, likewise.
Oh, absolutely. And so without further ado, we might as well bring on the person who made this comment so he can explain himself. Yours truly.
You're gonna make me tell the story. Awesome. Gentlemen,
I don't know what that means. So please tell the story.
I will let you know. Shout out to Jason for his TikTok feed, which is where I'm still learning cocktails today.
Yeah.
By the way, I've really enjoyed that, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah, thank you.
Strahan was one of the guest speakers one year at the conference, who, while he was there, was convinced it was the Dad to Dad Summit, which it wasn't. And that I think did he say he started it or one of the other guys that started? Like he completely got the details wrong. Otherwise, he was a lovely guest speaker. He was great, but he just sort of completely murdered on stage with this all. Okay, close enough. We'll move on.
Excellent. Hi, Mike. How you doing? What's in your glass?
Okay, so we got a couple. I finished the bourbon a minute ago, listening to you all. But I born and raised in Kentucky, so I got a couple things moving. I grabbed the bottle. This is a Norwegian aquavit. Heavy on the caraway seed. This is I thought of it in the theme because I bought this bottle after a long dinner with a close friend I work with in London that I worked with for years but had never met. I've been over there for 2 weeks for work, and we closed it off with the dinner, and that was the aperitif we closed it with. So as soon as I got home, I found a bottle of it. But it's truly just rye bread in a glass. In the highball glass, because I can't do glassware right, is a bourbon barrel ale, brewed in Lexington, where I'm from. So actually, just down the street, I have visited the brewery. This is not from there, but I figured today it's topical. It's on point. Since I completely missed Father's Day this weekend, I thought Greg had just scheduled this way in advance. Now I understand. Here we are. Completely missed that fact.
So excellent, Mike. Can you give us a little bit of background, or your experience about Dad 2.0? Your little bio, like we were doing before.
So my first Dad 2.0 was by accident. It was in Houston where I live, and Christine had been asked, my wife had been asked to go photograph the event, and she came out on day one, photographed the event. Then called me that afternoon. The next day, it's like, you really need to come out and see this. I said, okay, I don't have to. She's like, I'll get you in. Just come out and see this. So came to the hotel, attended some of the panels, met some guys. I'm like, that's really cool. And from that point on, we were hooked. We've been bloggers for a long time. Neither of us were especially parent bloggers, but you sort of follow the community of the whole thing, right? Mm-hmm. And you just follow along. Someone glums in. What have you guys said? Like, it's been a support network to the whole thing. See Michael Kaufman in the chats. I mean, the video calls, we started doing check-ins every night during the pandemic with a handful of people, right? Like, it's a great group of guys that you've always got access to, someone on your phone or online, someone's close by. And that's been the best part for me. Through all the ups, through all the downs, through all the advice we can give and the advice we can get. There aren't it was never such a thing for guys to have support networks like that. You know what I mean? Like there just weren't that many, and there's more now, and I'm glad we're turning attention to it. But there weren't that many, so it meant a lot to me to stick around.
Yep. All right. We have one more here to introduce. Friend of all of ours, former president of the National At-Home Dad Network, wise guy, masshole, beer enjoyer, and I would say a good dad. I will vouch for him for that. My friend JHG.
Thank you.
What's going on? Can we hear you, JHG?
Now can you hear me?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
There we go. Sorry about that.
Yeah. JHG, you know the rules here. What's in the glass? And then tell us about your Dad 2 experience, please.
Sure. All right, so let's start here. Well, I was at Total Wine recently, and so found this on the shelf, and I couldn't pass it up. Black Marble Stout from
Nice.
Nitro, too. Nitro.
I'm going to get out my
right.
favorite glass. Ooh. That made a nice sound.
Here you go, Mike.
Oh, the Zoom calls during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Man, oh man.
I'm going to have a flashback.
That is.
All those Zoom calls from.
Right.
Every night at 6 or 7 p.m. It was just like clockwork, dial in, check in, and do what?
Look at that.
That's pretty good glass.
Look at that thing.
So if I can jump in real quick for Mike brought up Houston, and that was my first Dad 2 was Houston, and so I went because Matt Schneider and Lance Sommerfeld convinced me to go from the NYC Dads group and City Dads group. So I went, and and I was just amazed, like right off the bat, like how amazing all the guys were. Because when I flew in, and there were guys from the At Home Dad Network that I was at the airport with, and those were my first meeting people in Houston were guys from the At Home Dad Network, and we took a car into the hotel,
Interesting.
and I was tempted because it's my first time away from my kids, and I was tempted to go up to my room and take a nap. And
Right.
but
Mhm.
Al Watts said that he was going back down to the bar, and that was the first time I met Al. And he's, I mean, you guys know Al is such a pleasant and nice man. And so, so I went up to my room and I thought I would like to take a nap, but you know what? I'm going to go talk to this guy, Al. And so I didn't take a nap, and I went down and talked to him, and then he became like my crutch for the next couple of days. For like anytime I was feeling like a little out of place, I saw Al. That first dad too. I was looking for Al and Matt and Lance from the NYC Dads group, because those are like my crutches that are like, I gotta find these guys. I'm feeling out of place. I'm gonna go. But Al from the At Home Dad Network. I mean, shout out to him. What a great guy.
Shout out to him.
Absolutely.
And JG, I know you already know about that, but JG, what's up with your Dad 2 experience and any
So my first
initial
was,
comments?
my first was my last. We're all wearing the same shirt from the last Dad 2.0
Not all of us.
here in DC.
You got one in at the end there. Look at that.
I did.
Split it in.
Got it in at the end, right before that.
Got it in at the end. Wow.
Oh, just the tip.
Easy there.
There we go.
We're all 12
So-
years old in our brains, aren't we?
It's all it takes. All it takes is one.
So that was really your Dad 2 experience, just
That
the
was-
tip. Okay.
That was just, yep, exactly.
All it takes is one, and suddenly you're a dad.
It is. That's true. No, that was it. Was my one and only. But the one thing I remember about Dad 2 is, and Jason kind of touched on this, is that the National At Home Dad Network and their convention and Dad 2.0 had crossover. There were guys that came from both sides of from both of those groups, so it wasn't hard to find people from each group together at Dad 2, which was a nice
It's
sort
like
of
the knife fight in West Side Story, but okay.
yeah, exactly warriors. And I just remember going to the lobby of the hotel there and seeing a lot of familiar faces and being able to have conversations with guys that weren't at the National At Home Dad Network but were part of Dad 2, and we knew them as a relationship with both groups. And guys like oh god, my brain is gonna go blank now. It'll come to me. But we've had former presidents like Al have been there, myself, current board members from National At Home Dad Network went, and it was just a chance to expand for the network, to expand beyond our confines, because the National At Home Dad Network was so focused on just the ins and outs of parenting. Dad 2 was really how to show your voice about being a dad and putting your voice out there to let people know that this is going on. We did all the behind the scenes work, and you guys did all the on camera work, so to speak. And that was really important, to have voices out there that spoke to what dads do and the everyday stuff. So we felt a kinship in that regard. You're doing the hard messaging that a lot of dads just don't have the time, let alone the ability to do, because they just don't. That's not in their wheelhouse. But I remember Dad 2 being a very, very similar environment, just learning from each other and supporting each other and learning from each other's experiences. I mean, all dads have shared experiences regardless of what we do on the outside and what groups we're in. There's a familiarity with parenting that comes with all these different organizations. So I really appreciated Dad 2 for what they were doing. And so did the network. So
one of the things I loved about it was that it raised a bit of visibility to the at-home dad. But like a stay-at-home dad I knew it was a thing, but I didn't know it was a thing, right?
Right.
So it gave me an opportunity to see what that experience was like from some really different viewpoints in there. So I always enjoyed learning a lot about it from the at-home dads as well too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because you can give different perspectives. The great thing about Dad 2 wasn't just at-home dads; it was working dads, it was part-time dads, whatever you want to call it. It was a mixture of that. Whereas the network has been solely focused on at-home dads for so long, so
Right.
it was good to get a cross section of parenting in a dad space.
It's really cool.
Yep.
So the score of the game tonight is 53-30, Doug. The Mavs.
54. It's 54-30, and I'm not happy. So
I gave up on that series.
Is it all about you, GHC?
Yes.
Is that where? Okay.
I would like to publicly say right here, Boston as a city can go fuck itself with all its sports championships. You guys have plenty. You're good. And you're going to win this one. Even if you lose this game, you're going to win. You're going to beat Dallas. It's going to be fine. Dallas will have their one win.
I'm a Cleveland fan, so fuck Boston.
Hey, as a Miami Heat fan, we hate Boston and the Knicks. Those are the two teams we hate. So,
all right. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out there for those who are. Yeah, it's this, Doug. Unfortunately, right?
That's why Aaron isn't showing up tonight.
No, I think we're pretty positive. Like that's probably not going to happen.
I'm hoping to get a drunk Aaron later, but
yeah.
Well, we don't have Aaron, but we have somebody cooler. There we go.
Yeah,
Cooler?
definitely. Definitely.
Well. Right. And we know Aaron's watching that game, so he's not watching this. So we can slip that in there, JHG. I know you're gonna run back and tell your Boston friend or whatever, but whatever. I know how y'all.
Yeah,
roll.
come on, we're massholes. I mean, come on.
Massholes.
Yeah, whatever, man. Whatever.
I want to give a shout out to Mike. He's got a nice little setup right over his shoulder.
He does.
That nice little drink
Okay.
cart.
That is pretty sweet.
So, Jason, we're rating rooms now. You started it, so now we have to finish it. What does Mike get for his room out of 10?
Out of 10, I think he's got a 10 out of 10 because I really like the spacing of his bottles. I want to come over and have a drink.
The spacing of his bottles.
Everything is like symmetrical. It's very nice. It looks great. It's very welcoming.
Thank you.
I'm a bit buzzed at the moment. Like we have a side chat going. I drink my whiskey too fast. So
that's all right. You're amongst friends. We won't hold it against you. I guarantee you.
Carry along.
I guarantee you're more sober than Aaron Gavea. So you're fine.
Oh well, yeah.
Easy.
He was messaging us at like 5 p.m. I'm drunk already. I'm like, Jesus, dude.
Oh boy.
The spacing of the bottles is wild. I'm just saying, Jason.
No, like it is very like it is. It's like very like how everything is right in the middle. It's very nice. Look how it's beautiful.
Also, the pixelated print in the back on the wall is nice too.
It's the Lego Great Ways Off Kanagawa.
I was wondering if that's what it was. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He needs to get negative for the printer though. The printer.
I'm gonna move.
That is my emotional support printer. We're going to talk about that if you want to go there. That is my emotional support printer.
So now we're at an 8.
Doug, Doug, that's the computer technician in me. Computer technicians hate printers. They suck. They fucking suck. They're horrible. They're the worst thing in the world. Anyway.
I just spilled my drink.
So, I don't know. I give Coffee Mike an 8.5. Doug, what do you give him?
I'm going to go 8.8. The only detractor is the printer.
JHG?
I
Just
like
focus
the
on the
yellow.
alcohol presentation, though.
Yeah, I like the
So-
yellow pillow too.
So JHG gets an 8.5 too. I love everything there. There's like mystery there,
Oh, yeah.
but there's like organization. There's geeky shit.
There's the plant.
Clock in the
come on,
background.
Plant is there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. It's pretty good. I'll give him Jason. I'll give Jason a solid 8. There's really not much going on, but there's like the fact that it's simple
clean.
is just nice. It's really clean. Yeah. So that's why it gets a solid 8. I need a little bit more. I see
in my
that
bedroom.
background of Doug's. I see the background of Doug's every fucking week, so that's a 1. So anyway, that's where we're at with that.
See, I'm in my bedroom, so I had to quick put up. It's just my daughter's for when she does Zoom. So I grabbed her because I'm in my bedroom.
Oh, okay, cool.
Bedroom / office / gym.
It works.
When you said bedroom, I initially thought that you were trying to hide some other things, but we won't go there. Anyway,
Where all the magic happens.
I love how everybody she perked up with that one. Was like, oh, yeah, it was good.
Where's this go?
JHG, I was talking about an air purifier and a lamp, dude. That's what I was talking about. Oh my god, y'all are horrible.
But you
So
do need
since
the
y'all
air
are so
purifier afterwards. So come on.
since y'all are so horrible, I'm gonna bring on someone who's not horrible because we have to change the.
Oh, you want to
what's
class
word,
up the
Doug?
joint?
Do I have to hang up now? Is that what you're telling me?
Oh,
Fine. I got
sounds
kicked.
like it.
I was actually talking about JHG, but it's fine now because
Well, you know.
it's fine. Anyway, without further ado, someone that I think we've all met at that too.
Yeah.
He is, in my opinion, the best dad podcaster that ever lived. I always come up with new names, Doug. I know he loves it. I do.
The title keeps growing.
But no, he's a very prolific dad podcaster. He's had almost every dad in the world on. It feels like sometimes, and it's great because he's just a really great resource for fatherhood. And I love the fact that I could call him a friend. And the only reason I can is because of this goofy ass summit that we all went to so many times, or even just one. So without further ado, I just love this guy so much. My friend, Art Eddie.
Woo! How do I, man?
Alright.
That is amazing, man. I don't know if I can get my head through the door when I leave my office because it's so big. Because of what you just
Hey, let me deflate it for you. Boston's losing 61-35 a half.
Oh, stop it!
He's not a Boston fan, is he?
No, so the only Boston fan I am, here's
Red
the thing.
Sox.
Red Sox. But my youngest, Jordy, she's a big Bruins fan. So I became a Bruins fan through her. Like we started playing NHL
Okay.
on the
That's
PS5.
acceptable.
And
Okay.
she, I would always take the Hurricanes, but I put them in the Whalers jerseys because I love the Whalers. I love.
Classic jersey.
Yeah.
Oh.
So my oldest, she would play as the Rangers. My youngest loves the Bruins, and so for every Christmas, I get her Canes and Bruins tickets, and I became like a Bruins fan, like a
Nice.
sub Bruins fan. But all my friends, like high school, I'm on a side text right now with all my friends being like they're just pissed, mad because of what's going on. I'm like, they're gonna win. They're gonna win this. If they lose this game, they'll take it back to Boston and win, whatever the case may be. I feel like. And I'm not trying to joke at all because we lost Bill Walton and Jerry West, but I feel like another NBA legend has to pass away or something. It's crazy what's going on there. But obviously, I think Boston will win. But again, thanks for the compliments and all that.
It's hard to recognize Art without a backwards hat on.
Yeah, I know.
All right, real
Give me
quick.
one.
Art, what was your tattoo experience?
So the first one was in San Francisco, and that was obviously the best one for me because of the whole Star Wars thing, and that was amazing. Ryan Hamilton from Life of Dad fame and all that, he won the Lego Ewok Village, and he was like, I hate Star Wars, I'm not a fan of Legos. He's like, do you want it? And I'm like, wait, what?
Whoa.
So
Wow.
I
was
hate
That's
Legos. I hate Legos. That's a statement there.
I was like, all right, cool, man. So he gave me that. But yeah, so that was the first one. And then I went to, I think, both DC ones. And DC, like, the last one was just really amazing. I didn't think we knew it was going to be the last one. Maybe some people did. I didn't know, but it was just amazing. I remember seeing Doug and Greg, like, come in, like, check in, and they had, like, some beers for a beer swap and all that. And I was like, you guys are going to have a good time. And then I think we were playing Mortal Kombat with Zach and Patrick and a bunch of other people. So it was definitely good times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So, that was, it's funny because, like, Art, you've been on the show a couple of times, and you and I and Greg, we all talk offline, and we talk about video games and a million things. I'd never would have happened without Dad 2.0. We never would have crossed paths. And what's funny is just like the idea that you do more of the sort of the video elements, and and I was always more in the writer elements, like this show notwithstanding, but like that's how I got into the group. So I'm just really thankful for it, just for a lot of reasons. But just one thing I think a couple of guys touched on was just the idea of like being able to express your vulnerabilities amongst a bunch of men. That is not something, I'm 52. You didn't do that. Like I was told, you just bottle all your shit up. You're supposed to be the man. You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to, lead by example and just take on everything that was one of my favorite things. And my wife, she went with me 1 year, and she could see it in real time, just how it happened. And just seeing like, oh, I get it. I got it, but I didn't really get it until I went and saw it. So yeah, it's I think that sort of vulnerability thing is a lot of us, I think, kind of experience that in different ways there. I don't want to speak for anybody else. I'm just saying that's kind of the observation I think we always had.
Well, absolutely.
Yo, Art, real quick. I'm sorry, Jason. Art, what do you have to drink? And then Jason, follow up.
Crown Royal and seltzer.
Seltzer. Any flavor? What kind of flavor is it? Just plain seltzer? What kind of seltzer is it?
Yeah, just plain. Like as I turn 45, I'm like trying to take away the sugar content.
Heard that. Heard that.
I used to have like
the flavor is the crown, Doug. The flavor is the crown.
My metabolism.
Here's the thing about Crown. Like Crown Royal has been good to me over the years with different things like media events and trips, but it's funny now. Like they just came out with a blackberry, and I don't know if you guys ever tried it yet, but it is really good. And I actually got it at a store. Like people are selling it for like $200 a bottle, like the normal maybe like the bottle that like sells for like $33. People are selling it for $200. I was at the liquor store and I saw it on the counter. I'm like, oh, that's probably already, vouched for, right? And they're like, no. I'm like, really? I'm like, yeah. So I bought it for $30. A guy came in right behind me. He's like, you're buying that? I'm like, yeah. Was this yours? He's like, no. He's like, I heard it was here. I was like, sorry.
Hey, Jason, you had something.
Yeah, I already forgot what I was going to say, but it's. But I just want to say, I just poured myself another Hefeweizen.
Nice.
So, but I want to say about Art is Art was one of the guys, because I'm an introvert extrovert, ambivert I guess is the thing now. But, the Art was one of the guys that I was sort of like I looked for, because Art is, like you guys know, he's an extrovert, very jovial guy. He's like a very happy guy and full of joy. And so I always looked for Art because I knew like I see Art, I'm gonna go like latch on to Art for a little bit. And so I'm glad that I see Art's here.
You can always latch on to me, buddy.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean Art, Michael Mobius was another one that I was sort of like look for, because he would always like, try to gravitate towards it, because I am an introvert, and that these sort of guys were sort of opened me up to like talk to new people and make me feel like I'm involved in some way.
Yeah, there's It's interesting to talk about that because I remember when I first went, and it was I don't remember which one it was. I honestly can't remember which my first one was. I want to say that there's such an interesting thing to go in when you are sort of a newbie.
Mm.
And like I think it had been 4 or 5 years at that point that had been going. So I'm walking in and I'm seeing, it's the big names. It's fucking, it's Charlie Capon, who is big name because he was in a bunch of media shit, and just like all these different people that I'm like, and Bogle, who I became good friends with. Like Bogle was like that dude, shit. Like I was afraid to talk to people because they just were kind of. I have big imposter syndrome. When I left, I actually remember I wrote a piece called Sea of Imposters, and it was just about how I felt like a fucking imposter in the middle of all these people who were big names in that blogger crowd. And so I just remember that being a very distinct feeling. But then once you sit and you go through it and you start talking to people, you realize that's all bullshit. Everybody's there to everybody. You could talk to anybody there. There's no someone who's on a higher pedestal. I think we all sort of put. I'm going to throw the name out now because we haven't talked about him yet. But Tom Hoffman, just being like his writing was like on a par that I don't think any of us kind of really achieved. Personally, that's my opinion. But that guy, like you walk around, and I roomed
Y'all
with Tom.
suck.
I roomed with Tom at the last Dad 2.0. This one. So I got to room with him at the last Dad 2.0, and his passing hit me pretty hard. I wanted to go to the funeral, and then unfortunately I couldn't because something came up with family stuff. But man, I wish I could have. So.
Yeah, I would say like Tom's funeral. Like, I was able to go. It was something because his family really appreciate the dad blogging community. So Tom Hoffman and I became friends because I was walking across the lobby at one of the Dad 2s, and I hear Jason Green, and I look at his Tom, and I've been reading his stuff, and of course anyone who's I've always said about Tom is that he was as good as a writer you will find in any genre ever. Like, just a brilliant writer. And so I heard him, and he's like, Jason Green, and I looked over at his Tom. I was like, oh, he knows who I am. He's this brilliant writer. And he's like, Jason Green, you're a mensch. And so we had his connection, and then we went to the bar. We had some drinks, probably more than we should have. And then our day was shot, pretty much. But and we just had like a good friendship. And then like years later, I was going through some hard times, and my phone rang one day, and it was a San Diego number, and it was Tom. And he helped talk me through some shit. And so his death really just it hit hard. And his death, Oren. I'm sure. I think you guys want to talk about Oren a little bit at some point. But Oren as well.
Yeah. Perfect segue, Jason. It's like you do this every week. Oren. So there's not a better person to talk about Oren than the next person I'm gonna bring up here. So it's again perfect timing, and maybe he could come in a little bit not so hot. Because him and Doug,
right?
That's not likely. That's not likely.
Because him and Doug have a history. Well,
Wishful
y'all seen
thinking.
it here. Y'all seen it here a couple times, but it rages on every day. And so without further ado, and this is part of the reason why it rages on, right, Doug? Is because of this and
Yeah.
Clear the floor. Clear the floor, people. Clear the floor.
this.
Here we go.
Yeah. So, but we will get Oren to tell everyone about Oren at some point here.
Yes.
But until then, we're just going to introduce him. It's my friend and everybody's friend, Aaron Govea. Asshole extraordinaire.
When I come tonight, none of y'all you could do it. Are we friends tonight? Are you kidding me? Listen to me. And you brought me on, like, that's how I say, you brought me on after talking about Tom and Oren.
He sounds underwater like the Celtics right now.
Somebody drown. Somebody drowning in your ear.
Don't make me hate you. Don't make me fucking hate you too. What's wrong with you? I love you, and now you're making me fucking hate you. Don't
Dude, I
go
love
in
you
the
too.
camp. That's
No,
not camp
listen,
you want to be in.
I need you to get your audio correct so we can hear you. 'Cause you are brilliant, man, and I want
seriously,
people to
can't
hear
hear
you.
you.
That's all I'm
It
saying.
is bad.
Yeah. Maybe that's because I'm at a rod and gun club with no fucking Wi-Fi. Drinking Miller High Life, the champagne of beers, with all you craft beer drinking motherfuckers.
So let me get this straight. You're drinking beer, watching the Celtics lose around a bunch of guns. That doesn't sound like a good recipe for a good night.
A bunch of guns. We don't just have guns on the table. Now I'm gonna give you to the redneck people. Now they're all gonna fucking.
Hey, listen. I grew up redneck. I know it.
What are you fucking talking about? That's Larry. Know the laws, know the rules before you step in the fucking boundaries.
I stand corrected.
This is not a good night for Boston. But you know what? I think
You guys are going to win the finals. It's all
we
fine.
are going to win the series. We are going to win this series. And when we do, Doug, expect just an extraordinarily inappropriate amount of bullshit coming your way. I'm going to flood your inbox for weeks at a time. I'm going to be relentless. I'm never going to give up because your Celtics hate is so absurd and ridiculous, and it needs to be rectified. You need to be cleansed.
That sounds very religious of you, Aaron.
Yeah, well, I'm a very religious person. I am a very religious person, as you know.
When it comes to your sports fandom, absolutely, yes.
Well, it is kind of weird though. Like the narrative.
They are the best team in the NBA. You know this. They're a 64 win
I
team.
said that.
They are stacked. They're having a terrible night with that fat fuck Luka. He doesn't deserve to be out there with his terrible fucking defense. I can say fat fuck because I am one. That's fine. That's totally in bounds. All right. The second half started. I gotta go, but I will be checking in on this and all of you who I love, despite the fact that you're terrible.
Hey, no, Aaron, before you go though. Last night though, I gotta say, like I'm a Niners fan. I'm not a Patriots fan, but it was really cool to see the Tom Brady ceremony and the fact. One of the things that I freaking love because sports media just takes things to a different level these days. Especially go see the Caitlin Clark thing for all the shit that's going on. But I love the fact that Brady at one point was like, wasn't about Belichick, it wasn't about me, it was all of us. And like the whole do your job, whether you hate the Patriots, love them, whatever the case may be. But for him to say that, man, I just felt like was like icing on the cake with all the championships they had. So
and you know what? The best part of that night, I was there, of course.
Oh, nice.
And I was there with my dad and my 8-year-old son, and my 8-year-old plays football. And when Tom Brady started talking about how playing football is hard and you need to work for it every day because it's just so difficult, he was like, he was nodding like he's gonna say what you want about Tom Brady, but that was a great speech, and he's gonna take that with him because it is hard. It is ridiculously hard. And when he ended with, "I wish I had more time to give you," I'm a grown man. I cried. I'm not afraid to admit that. I would give Tom Brady anything. I'd give him anything.
Wow.
It means exactly what you think it means, Doug. Don't be homophobic, you piece of shit. This is supposed to be a friendly, inclusive show, Doug. Now you're going to be a bigot? I'm not going to be on a bigot show. I'm out of here. No, we're done.
Enjoy the second half.
Greg, why'd you get a soundboard? That's amazing.
Oh, he does all kinds of things with it. It's great.
I just noticed Aaron's name at the very end. It was like, "Fuck you, Doug." That's funny.
Yeah. What's funny is like
So-
when we were messaging before offline, like not offline, but online, but not in this. And I was like, hey, the Celtics are the best team this year. They've lost 20 games all year. They're going to win the title. Like I'm not and the funny thing is when Miami beat them last year, I said, ha, and I moved on. And that motherfucker, if the Celtics win the title, I'm gonna get weeks of nonsense. That's what I'm going to get. So like
we like to troll.
I forbid you from using that in this freaking show ever again because of who said it.
It's all fake news. It's phony
You
stuff.
Aaron's not here to defend himself now, but
Great.
I wasn't
Great.
sure.
That's a good thing.
I wasn't sure before I went to Dad too if I was gonna like Aaron because he is. I'm not a combative person, and everything about Aaron is combative.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if I was gonna get along with him. What's that?
What part?
Yeah, everything.
So
yes, I wasn't sure if I was gonna like him or not, and then right away I thought he was he's actually a very sweet person.
I was gonna say, bring it back to topic. He's a hell of a dad. If you look at what his kids are doing, playing football, one of the kids, he got all kinds of 15 minutes of fame for kids painting nails. One of his kids sews and sews really damn well.
Yep.
He's doing a lot of things right. As much of a pain in the ass as he is.
Aaron's an amazing dad. He's an amazing guy. I love him.
So Jason, my first interaction with Aaron Gouveia at a Dad 2 was what everybody would think your first interaction with Aaron Gouveia would be at a Dad 2. I forget what it was. One of those evening mixer things, and I walk in and it's literally Aaron Gouveia in the center of everybody, just doing what he just did here, punching at everybody, and it was all about Boston. And I just jumped in. I was like, "Oh, so you're just taking pop shots here? I'm just gonna take a couple at you." And he's like, "Oh, you're you're a Browns fan. You can't talk to me." He said, "I can't talk to him, Doug. I can't even have a conversation.
You can't deign to be in his presence."
So that was my Aaron Gouveia. It was good because Doug and Aaron go at it so much that yeah.
With love, I would like to point out that we don't actually hate each other. I respect him a lot, and
but Doug
The
definitely.
following program contains coarse language and nudity. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's that
You got
from?
to dig a little bit with Aaron to get there. You got to get through a very thick surface layer to find the real gem.
Well, it's a thing that he does the protective layer of mass hole. It's a protective layer of mass hole, and then once you get past that, you get to the nice parts. And I've had some conversations with him just talking about his kids, and just we both kind of talk to each other about difficulties raising kids, especially when they get to teens. Teens, I swear to God, I love my kids, but when they got to be teens, the price of everything went fucking financially out the fucking just skyrocketed. Yeah. It sucks. It sucks. I just
Absolutely.
No, be open. Tell us how you really feel, though, Doug.
Right. Hey, listen.
He's hiding something.
But it's not their fault. It's the fact that everything's fucking expensive. They just happen to be coming up at a time when they need things that are very expensive on top of everything going up. So it's just that. So it's not their fault. It's just fucking.
It is their fault. It is 100% their fault.
I just want to say something and I don't care if anybody steals this idea. PTAs, you can take this for what it's worth. I don't know about you guys. I got now a junior, next school year, a junior and a freshman in high school. For our daughter's 8th grade graduation ceremony, it was really packed. People were trying to find seats and all this other stuff. I don't know if you guys have fundraisers or different things. They sell these frozen breads. They're called butter. All of these different weird things that are that they try and sell. Here's my thing to PTAs and just different school organizations. You want to make money? You should sell seats for graduation because people will buy that and bid on that like nobody's business. You want to make some money? Stop selling frozen bread or popcorn that's stale after 3 days. This is what you need to do. Sell the F out of those seats for graduation. And I tell you, you will make, your budget and your goals tenfold. That's all I'm saying. There's my platform. See ya.
It's true.
It's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seasons of life is a funny thing we're throwing for 2 reasons. Number one, so when I met the group, remember, my wife's a little bit older than I am. My stepson was 12 when she and I got married. I was 26. He was 12. So I got all the teenage years right up front. I have been waiting maybe a decade for you all to catch up to this.
No.
Because I know the shit you're going to go through. It's like I've lived it and I've waited for a decade for you all to get here to go, I fucking told you so. Sorry. Anyway, point number 2, we were going back. We're talking about Tom. We're talking about our dear friends. And I realized, we've hit the point where we're now starting to talk more and more about the friends that have left us, the friends who have. We haven't quite hit the what medications are we all on age of, like, right on the edge of it. It's like as dads age through this, it's like you see the stack of things coming through here.
Brothers and Booze are going to be sponsored by AARP soon, and that'll be great. There you go.
Hey, I would like to say AARP is good. That gives you a lot of fucking discounts. And you do not have to be 50 to join AARP. You could be any fucking age.
I have AARP card.
Yeah.
Great.
I have a card at Skywalker Ranch.
What was that, Jason? Sorry, I didn't hear the end of what you said.
I have AARP card, and I get great discounts on hotels, car rentals, restaurants.
Yeah.
The 4:30 like steak special, and then you can see Matlock at like 5:30 on reruns.
Murder She Wrote.
Dude, betting specials are the best thing ever.
You guys see Doug French is like down here in the corner? Is this thing on?
Yeah.
What up, Doug?
What's up, Doug?
Hey, Doug.
Good to see you, man.
Also, too, like I just gotta say, just speaking of connections and all that, Doug French and I love that dude, and like he and I will sometimes chat for like an hour or so. He'll call me up, I'll just call him up. Like for a long time, that dude would just call me up, see how things are going, talk about the podcast, talk about his podcast. Obviously, he's got a new one as well, and people should check out When the Flames Go Up. Like check that podcast out. But like we call each other, and it's like I love the fact that even though him and John like had the dad too, like he's still making sure the connections are there, and we'll just talk for for long length. So just a shout out to Doug French, man, because it's just there are certain times where he and I'll just chat on a weekday, and it just feels so damn good chatting with that dude. So it's just cool to have those connections. Like Greg, when you brought me on here, man, it was just like I know I was joking like with all the praise you're giving me, but like all you guys here, man, like. It's just it's great to see you guys. It's great to see what you guys are doing with your kids. And I one of the things that I love so much about Dad 2's impact is that we're still doing this. There's still connections that are being made. Like Creed Anthony and I will talk or text or whatever, and he's just like, I love the fact that he spoke at Cooperstown, man, and he was just talking about certain things, and like they labeled him a historian. So like shout out to Creed, shout out to all the like relationships that we've made over the years.
Right.
And if it wasn't, like you guys said, if it wasn't for Dad 2, like we wouldn't have this connection, and we wouldn't have the idea of like fatherhood is the new brotherhood. And it's just like it's an honor to chat with you guys anytime I get the moment to do though. So again, thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, like it's like going back to Oren too, like Oren who sort of like did this whole like dad blogger group that we're all a part of, that we share like more stuff than I think we share more stuff in our dad blogger group about like what we're going through than we do about what we're working on. But yeah, my first Dad 2 that I went to was in Houston. I got seated next to Oren at one of the dinners that people break out and go out to dinners together, whatever. And Matt and Lance from NYC Dad's group, again taking care of me, invited me to come along, and I ended up sitting next to Oren and just talking to him, and then we became like instant friends because we were both sort of pessimistic, both like introverts, extroverts, and like and so yeah, like when he passed away, that was really hard. Even every once in a while, still I went back through my blog, and I was trying to organize stuff, and I was like rewriting some things and like cutting some old blog posts, and I would go back through it, and I would see like old blog posts that Oren left comments on. Like the support that, like, especially at the beginning, like dad bloggers in our very beginning, we were all supporting each other and like, sharing, commenting, like encouraging, and like going through the old blog posts and seeing like some of the things that Warren had said. It was miss that guy.
For sure.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride. I remember when I first, literally the first year I was in a dad bloggers group, and we would do the Secret Santa exchange,
Mhm.
and I got Oren, and
Oren.
Oren got diagnosed that year, like he was terminal, and I was like, this is the worst possible scenario for me because I was being selfish in my brain. I was like,
Yeah.
this guy what do I do? And I was lucky enough to be able to talk to Beth, his wife, and be like, hey, I just want to get him what comfort can I give? How can I do that? And she gave me some ideas and I sent them to him. And yeah, it was one of those things where I just remember being terrified because I'm like, this guy might not be alive for the next time we do this. So I'm the last one doing this. So I just remember being just, and the thing I shouldn't have been petrified because Orm is such a fucking nice dude and everything, but it was just one of those things where I was like, like, what if I do this wrong? And you know, I just got him some comfy things, some slippers, some like a warming blanket, like things that would help him because you know that was things that he wanted because he wanted something that would make him feel comfortable. So yeah.
Nice, man.
Doug, do you have a question?
Actually, I want to ask JHG something because you haven't had a lot because you only went to the one Dad 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you would be, all right, so your experience at Dad 2.0 was limited to the last one that we were all at, which was great. And, you know, I met you for the first time. I met Matt Strain. I met a bunch of people I hadn't met before.
Yep.
And that's where the Top Sheet conversation started, by the way, which is a staple of the show.
Yes.
But being that you came in so late, and I know you said there was some cross-platform stuff with it, how do you view it other than it was cross-platform? Like, what's your, like, I'm going to say, what's your opinion of it? Opinion's the wrong word, but like, what did you gain out of that? You know, I mean, you talked a bit about it earlier, but it's just something where because you came in a little bit later than all of us, and most of us here have been in it for a while before kind of that 2.0 stopped.
Yeah.
But like you came in at a late stage of it. So what did you get out of that particular, not as it relates to National At-Home Dadcom Network, but like as it relates to you personally?
To me personally.
Yeah.
It gave me a more perspective that there are more dads out there than the little bubble that we had in our own network, and to see what those dads were doing and how they were communicating, how they were connecting. And it was great to sit in a room and hear stories from dads who doing the hard work, doing those struggles and putting themselves out there and sharing those deeper thoughts that some guys aren't comfortable in sharing themselves, but they certainly feel it. And watching heads, yep, I've been there, I've done that, yep, yep. That camaraderie that happens when guys share those stories that are so personal yet shared at a certain level, and seeing that recognition around the room and creating and in that sense creating more bonds and more relationships as a result of it, right? Yeah. I mean, the fact that I became friends with you, Doug, is just one example of that, because that came out of that.
Yeah, I apologize for that.
You should, you know, we had the chance to go out and try some spots in DC while we were there that I knew of, that I was able to share with you guys. So it provided an opportunity to expand the friendships and expand that brotherhood a little bit further, and meet some new people and gain some new friendships. Like Greg said early on, Lauren being there. I mean, Lauren, I would have never met Lauren had it not been for Dad 2.0. And Lauren has been a great friend and a great advocate for dads in general, let alone for Dad 2.0 and the National At-Home Dad Network. And all the work that we do. So I was just grateful to be able to experience it for the friendships and the relationships that came out of it. Let alone learning just a touch about how to advocate.
Yeah, your microphone went out a little bit there at the end, JHG.
There's something I like about what you said, though, just to build on that, about the shared experience thing, right? Greg, I don't know if you were at the panel. There was one year, they all blur, that or it's the whiskey. A little of both.
Is it blended?
There was one year, there was a panel about Black fatherhood, right? That I remember, and I sat in on it. I was one of about 3 white guys in the room. There was a bunch of Black parents, a panel of 5 guys talking. And what was so powerful to me wasn't the stories I heard from stage, because some of them were the stories, frankly, you expect you would hear, and people were telling them real and authentic. It was every head nodding across the room. It was how pervasive that shared experience was that wasn't part of my lived experience. It was like, it really helped open my eyes to a lot of different things that I wouldn't have seen or hadn't seen, right?
Yeah.
But it was that shared experience that I could relate to, and now I've got a tool to relate to that. Now I've got something in my cap to be able to talk to other people, whether it's at work, whether it's home, whether it's in my life. There were some of those really powerful moments about just what that shared experience looks like for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Another thing I really loved about Dad too, that it's hard to find anywhere else. Art might see this point of view too. Like if you like, my blog is a business, right? It's like Art has a business, and you sort of so you go there because you have a business, and it's like a work trip, right? But at the same time, it's strange because Dad too is more than just a work trip. Like you go there, you want to better your business, you want to make more money. This is how I'm paying, bills and putting food on the table and that sort of thing. So you go there to make money, but at the same time, you go there for the art of it, the writing, the podcasting, whatever. But also like
the art of it. It can't. Dad jokes about.
Well, no, I know, I consider what I do kind of artistic. Some of the things I write about, I think about.
Oh yeah, it's just a pun on Art's name. I totally agree.
Yeah, I think most people don't like.
That's my podcast name. It's a dad joke right there.
Yeah. Right. So exactly. So as and so Dad too is combining everything that I really wanted to do in life. Was I wanted to better my business. I wanted to pay. I got bills to pay. I wanted to become a better writer, and I also wanted to hang out with a good group of people and make friends. And so Dad too covered everything. And I think that's why it's sad that it's not there. Yeah.
No, Jason, I totally agree with you. But I think one of the biggest things that Doug would say is the tide raises all the boats, right? Because we're all here together, and I think through our writing, podcasts, vlogs, whatever the case may be, what you guys are doing, Greg and Doug, with your show, and I know you cover a lot of different topics, but every time I interview someone or anytime I do an article or write something, whether it's like a Dad Onion article or whether there's some truth to it or whatever I'm sharing, I always want to be a better dad. And I think this space and working with you guys and connecting with you guys, it just, you want to keep on being a better dad and a better person. And I think that ultimately, not to sound cheesy or a Hallmark special, but if there's a dad Hallmark special, it'd be this the idea of all of us trying to be the best version of ourselves. Right. I remember, when I interviewed Dave McCormick, who voices Bandit on Bluey, he said, everyone thinks I'm a great dad. You can be a great dad for 7 minutes, but how about being a great dad for 24 hours or for a week? And it takes time and it takes a lot of, concern and intent to do that. And I think the spaces and whether we're writing or podcasting or vlogging or whatever, it makes us think about not only is that person's story that we're sharing our own story, but it's how can I be better? How can I be a better person to my kids, to my partner, to whoever? And Dad too was always great because I would see you guys or I'd see other people and it's oh man, I miss you. What's going on with the kids? How you guys doing? Well, what's up with your blog? You changed things too. I saw that you changed up, your banner or whatever the case may be. But you're just talking about so many different things, and the connections for the business side was great. But for me, more importantly, it was just like a chance to like recharge my batteries and being like, this is why we're doing what we're doing. This is why we're connecting with such great dads from all walks of life. Like the idea, if you just hang out in a room with like clones of yourself, how are you getting better? How are you getting better? But everyone here, everyone that we've touched at Dad too, has so many different backgrounds, whether they're, their stepdads or their dads who have lost kids through, childbirth or whatever the case may be, or like all these different things. And it's like, damn, like you see everybody's perspective and you kind of being like, you know what, I might have judged that person a different way, but now that I know that the person and like I had a chance to walk in their shoes or listen to them, like it gets a little bit better. So I totally agree with what you're saying, Jason. And like all you guys, I know that we've talked different times with Dad too, whether we're sharing a beer or just hanging out like at a Best Buy, the Best Buy like room or something, playing Madden. It's just the idea of just like hanging out. And whatever we took away from those conversations, the better we became.
Yeah. So let me build on it. 3 things. Number 1, since I poured a drink, I got to tell you what I'm drinking here.
Port Charlotte. I love
Port
that.
Charlotte, Isla Scotch.
I thought you were bringing out a Dove Men Plus Care thing.
I'm coming to that. We'll get back to that in a second. The PD Scotch is from. I will always keep a PD Island Scotch on for Mom. Passed away from cancer in 2016, but she never drank when I was growing up. And somewhere late in life, Scotch and PD Scotches became her thing. No idea where that came from, but that was her jam. So this one's always for Mom, and damn, it's good. You were talking about so part of the magic of a good group of friends, and it's really any good group of friends, but part of this is you can see each other once a year, but you can pick right back up where you left off with so many of them. And you can pick up the new guys in here. It's like coming back into it wasn't a chance. Like you didn't have to figure it out again. You just sort of picked up where you left off with the guys in the process. But it's funny you bring up the Dumb Mouse Care because the point I wanted to make behind this was credit to John Pacini, Doug French, and all the team they had running this. The swag was solid. Yeah. I didn't buy soap or shampoo for about 6 years. But I mean, the swag of the conference was good. They did well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Who still has Dove Men Care products?
I think I've finally exhausted my supply.
All right. So one of the things I wanted to ask about also, we have this is our friend Lauren doing Cultivator of Curiosity. So welcome, Lauren. So yeah. So we had Mike tell us what he was drinking, Port Charles, which I highly approve. I love Islay Scotch. That's one of my favorites. Jason, you had a Hefeweizen, but you didn't tell us what you thought of it.
No, I usually don't enjoy Hefeweizen. There's a beer garden close to me that I'll drink it there. It's like it's an outdoor beer usually for me, but I like it. It's nice. It's not as heavy as the milk stout that I was drinking. I'm probably going to go back to the milk stout before the end of this night, but yeah, I don't usually drink Hefeweizen, so it's nice. It's a lighter beer. It goes down easy.
All right. So before we move on, I actually have a third beer, and the reason I want to talk about it is because this is aged a month after the last Dad 2.0. This is over 4.5 months old. Ooh. 4.5 years old. This is a Dragon's Milk.
Wow.
Now it's a reserve, so it has adjuncts, which will have none of the adjuncts in it. There's a rum barrel aged stout with chocolate, hazelnut, and toasted coconut.
Oh, it's aged.
It's aged as fuck. So, and I wanted to grab something that was as old as Dad 2.0 from the last one.
Nice.
So we're going to see how that is.
I almost came home with the Dragon's Breath from the store instead of the bourbon barrel ale that I brought.
That's what happens when you drink
an accent.
Dragon's Milk is just so fucking good, though.
Yeah, Dragon's Milk, sorry.
Yeah,
you get Dragon's Breath when you drink too much.
Yeah, you're late. Yep. I also had a bourbon before that for my beers too, Lauren. So you've been really behind. So, cheers to you folks.
Cheers.
I'm getting low.
Is that a cat tail on camera or just some sort of weird appendage that I'm missing here?
The cat.
Okay, awesome.
It's a cat.
Just checking.
So one of my favorite Dad 2 stories is of a person I ended up becoming a good friends with was on the very first Dad 2. I approached David Vienna at a bar, and which pre his natural habitat. But I just went up to go talk to him because he read something, and I went to go talk to him. And we were talking about something, but I ended up telling him to go fuck off. And, yeah, and I think my exact words were, "Well, fuck you," and that started a beautiful friendship. So like that was our favorite story. Like every time we would talk to each other, we would tell people like, "Hey, this is our first conversation." Where I told him to go fuck off, and so we were at Tom's funeral, and again sharing the same story around campfire with a group of guys. Like he was just somebody that I ended up it was like an instant kinship with, and that I always would look forward to seeing one time a year because he's an LA guy, I'm a New York guy. And so I always kind of looked forward to like bumping into him. So yeah, it's Dad 2 was kind of like that, like those guys that you're gonna see like once a year, and you just pick up right away where you left off.
And there's some characters that you meet that you just wouldn't run into anywhere else. Vienna being one of them. Like that guy is that's a one-on-one. That's a guy you meet him, you never forget meeting David Vienna. Like just
yeah.
The only place you know to find him like a Tarantino movie.
He does. Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, Doug, what was that Dad 2.0 old ass beer tasting like?
It was fine. Like I said, the adjuncts are all gone. So basically,
It's like Larry's Bird.
No, but kind of maybe. It's it's fucking 4 years old. So it's almost tastes more like a malt beverage than it does like regular Dragon's Milk. Now, what's interesting is I have a Dragon's Milk that's actually a regular Dragon's Milk that's in my cellar fridge that is older than that one. So I'm saving that for a guest I am hoping to book. So.
I also want to see like Doug, you and your wife. Was it DC that you guys run a panel together for the transgender panel?
It was not DC. It was San Antonio.
And
we did a panel. Was that what we had? We had a panel with Nick North, Amber Leventry, Brett Almond, and my wife was on the panel too, and I think there was someone else. But that panel was one of these panels where you were talking, Mike, earlier about just some head nodding. Mine was not like that with that panel. My job as a moderator was just kind of guiding it. And what was interesting was the conversations I had after the panel. Like Creed Anthony came up to me and was like, "Listen, I'm a teacher and I need to understand this." So he was asking me questions, and that's great. Like it's where you open your mind to things that you don't normally think about. And I happen to be running that one, but if somebody was running a panel like that, I would want to listen because it's something like it was about not just being queer. It was also about parents and also having kids who may be queer and being able to support them and how, I have 4 kids and 3 of them are queer. So it's like, I'm glad I had that preparation going through it. But that panel was fun to do. And I appreciate you bringing it up because it was one of the things I'm more proud of there. The only thing I was prouder of was the thing I read that went long, but
yeah, like I think that panel is my favorite panel in the history of Dad 2. That was my favorite panel. Nick North has become one of my favorite people in the world.
Love Nick.
I love Nick. And I was at the time I was a new in my I had just come to the realization that one of my 4 kids was a queer kid, and so I was trying to like eat up any type of information I could possibly receive at that time. And again, then just going to that panel and then talking to Nick afterwards, and like Nick was just so gracious and like receiving all my stupid questions and and like anything that I had to say, and just being a sponge of what everything Nick had to say. So I mean, that was a great panel.
that was a funny year for me because Christine, my wife, came with me to every one of the conferences. Like we talk about this being a dad-centric event, but there were people coming through and hanging a bit. Like it wasn't all just guys in the process. But through being a photographer, Christine knew Nick from before. So it was kind of a really interesting bit of context for me to meet Nick and meet him and get to know him in the process. And then Christine was talking to him with all of that history through their connects to a whole other set of similar conference building, et cetera. Like that was an interesting year for me. That was a lot of fun.
I still message Nick probably maybe every other week. Nick and I message each other, and he is someone I would not have met anywhere else.
Yeah, and kudos to Doug French for actually putting that together. Like he hooked me up with Nick, and as well as Amber Leventry, who was a great voice in that too. Speaking from a non-binary perspective, which was not a perspective that I knew a lot about. So like even going in there, I knew going in, even though as a moderator of the panel, I was going in knowing I did not know a lot, and that's part of the coolness of the panels. Whether you're running it or being part of it or not, it's just the idea that you get to learn perspectives that you're not familiar with. And I think, not to get too philosophical, but the idea of like going through life and just being open to learning more things and understanding how things aren't just in a very straight path that you're used to. Too many people don't understand that if you could just open your mind a little bit and listen to what people are saying, you'll learn so much more.
So in the spirit of almost demoing a panel for all the poor people watching us talk about the old stories, now that our kids are getting older, moving off, some of you talked about going off to college. Jason, I'm actually going to pick at you first. Your oldest is in the military now. How has that for you? How has that journey been? Like I know I've read and seen some of it, right? But as a dad, what's that been like for you?
Yeah, it's
I haven't had a chance to talk to you about it. I've just sort of seen the bits of it, but like watching that, what you said, I'm curious.
It's not easy because, we get these Facebook stories that we all like love to look back on. And I see these photos of him being little and us playing soccer together. There was one photo today that I looked back on memories, and he and I are flexing muscles together. And he's like 5 years old. I would never flex next to him now. And it's like when you see like soldiers on TV or whatever, those parents of those soldiers don't see those soldiers as what we see them in all their medals and everything.
Oh, come on.
Oh, not now.
So sorry. So I came back. So, like, we don't parents, we don't see our soldiers as with the crew cuts and the big giant muscles and the medals. We see the little kids that we used to play with and like what we would hold during a nightmare, right? And so for me, he's still that kid that would, cry in the middle of the night because he had a nightmare. But now he's like, a trained killer. He's a, like I have to watch. There's not a lot I can talk about it because of what he is. But I feel like I got a phone call once, and I'm not going to talk to you for a while, and it's one of those like, oh, okay. So you just kind of roll with it. But at the same time, it's like, I go down and visit him, and I spend time with him. And he's a man, like like again, in my head, he's always going to be that little boy. But when I go down and visit, I see him in his house. He's married. He's got a kid on the way. I'm going to be a grandpa in a couple months.
Oh, no way.
In August, I'm going to be a grandpa. And
congrats, sir.
Yeah, thank you. And so I go to his house, and he's like, he's what you want your kid to be. He did it. Like, he's but it's being in the military, is being a military dad. It's stressful. It's stressful. Yeah. It's funny. It's like going through basic training for the kid is also sort of going through basic training for the dad, because you always protect your kid, right? You don't want teachers talking to your kid a certain way. You don't want bullies talking to your kid a certain way. But they go to the boot camp and they're getting the worst things said to them ever. And you're just like, okay, so this is where we're at now. And that sort of helps you for the rest of what they're going into later.
This is a great question from our friend Lauren.
It is a great question.
Sorry, go.
I was just going to say, I mean, to her point, I don't think you always think of them at a certain age. You just know all the things about them that make them who they are that a lot of people don't see. And so people see them from the outside as a certain person, but you know all their insecurities, all their emotions, how they react to things, why they react to things, and you come at from a completely different perspective than people from the outside. So when you see your kids, no matter what age they are, you know what makes them tick and what they are. So there is a bit of, as a parent, you are going to be protective of them regardless of what age they are. Because you love them for who they are.
No, it's such a great point. I'll say two things. When Jason was a teenager, every so often you would see the glimpse of the man he's going to become. Right? Like, it's like all the cylinders fire in the engine at once.
Right.
And that lasted for about 30 seconds. And then he reverted back to being a 15-year-old kid. Like, oh yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And he's 32 now. And so every so often I talk to him and I see the glimpse of the kid he was when I met him.
Right.
And then he's back. He's married for a year now.
Right.
His wife is wonderful. They dated for 10 years. Like she's wonderful. She's great. But he's in a different place now. But every so often you see the kid. Whereas when he was a kid, you saw the future, these little flashes back and forth in the process.
That is very. I mean, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
No, I agree with both of you guys. You every stage of their life is who you think of them as, whatever they're at. My oldest, who's in the Army, I think of him as a little boy and going through different things and having trouble at summer camps and calling me every night. But I still think of him now as where he is right now, where he's got these responsibility of protecting, and carrying around machine guns and things like that, and knows the correct way to throw a grenade. So I think of them as, I think of them as every single phase, and the same thing with my daughter, who's an artist. She going through different things of her life and where she's at now, and just being as an artist. So and with my two younger ones too, it's whatever stage they're at is making them who they're going to be. And I don't think of them at any one stage, but I can recall upon a certain stage in an instant.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, when Doug was talking about Facebook memories are worse for empty nesters, but like I wrote an article like 4 years ago just talking about like the bittersweet reminder, like when Facebook gives you that gut punch when you're like, hey, this is from 11 years ago. And you're like,
right.
What? 11 years ago? And,
right. Yeah.
And I'm teaching my oldest how to drive right now. And here in North Carolina, like you need 60 hours of like drive time. And some people are like, that's insane. But like, also like on the other side, like you're getting 60 hours with your kid one-on-one time. And they're teaching you things like, I wrote an article about like how teaching my daughter to drive made me a better and more like compassionate driver. Whether someone behind me is like 80 years old driving, or someone has the caution new driver on there, it's like, okay, so this person is driving the exact same, like the speed limit or 5 under. Okay, we're going to get there safer than we would if we were speeding, whatever, right? So I just think that you look at your kids at the different ages, and I think when you guys were talking about like seeing the insecurities of the, like how they all are vulnerable, you're like, man, like I wish I could protect them, but as they get older, it's like they're going to have to experience a lot more heartache and sadness, instead of just when they were learning to walk and had like a boo-boo on their knee because they scraped themselves walking on the sidewalk. Now it's like, oh, so and so doesn't like me, or oh, I didn't get this job, or all of these different things. And you're like, you want to, like shower them with love and like protect them, but you're like, I can't do that because then they won't grow. And so all of these different things, you're like, it's bittersweet to watch them grow because you know that you want to give them all the tools and all the love that they won't need you anymore, and that sucks.
Right.
But they have to do it themselves. That was the hardest thing for me. It's like I can guide, I can steer, I can coach, I can tell you all the things. He had to put it together for himself.
Right.
Drove me off the wall because he did not put it together as fast as I wanted it to. But he had to put it together himself in his own time. It's like the NFL. As long as you got forward progress, the play's not dead. Cool, keep it moving. I want to pick on one other little detail of what you said too, because I thought it was great. When Jason was learning to drive, tell me this is your experience too, it's not just me. Logically, I know in the passenger seat of the car there are no pedals in front of me. I stomped on every single pedal as he was learning how to drive. It's like, you're not braking when I want you to brake. You're not going as fast as I want you to go. I had every damn pedal just on the floorboard that wasn't there.
No, I have that, but my daughter now knows that when I grab the oh shit handle, that means like, oh, I should brake or something. Because like, I'm just like, and she goes, Dad, I know I need to brake. I'm like, okay, good. And I'm like, I'm trying to, like, I tell her, like, I'm trying to shut up and I'm letting you do your thing because, she, like, today she just started. She had her first day of her first job ever, and like, it was amazing to see her work. And she's like, man, that was kind of hard. I'm like, yeah, guess what? It's gonna get like it's gonna have this experience, right?
This is the entry level,
right?
Yeah,
right.
So it's there's just so many different things that you want to let them grow, and like, I gotta shut up. I have to stop talking. I have to let them do their own thing, whether it's driving a car, whether it's their first job, or Jason. Like, I have a lot of friends in the military, and it's just I know everybody like a Memorial Day or it's a certain Veterans Day where people say this, but like when you have someone in the military, it's 24/7. You're thinking about someone, and you care that they're safe. So that's just even more added pressure. So my heart goes out to you and like everybody else who has a family member in the military. So yeah, it's just I know, Doug, you want to say something too, but it's just crazy, like the different levels. Like you always think when you first like I'm not having any sleep, like oh my god, I went like. You would love to go back to those days where you're sleep deprived, and it's like you're holding on to them, right?
No. I will say the toddler phase was the worst phase for me by a fucking country mile. I know it's expensive now. I'd much rather be like broke and not be terrified that they're going to kill themselves every 5 seconds.
Oh, the high school. Yeah, the high school age for me is the worst. Teenage years, late teenage years. Like, yeah, that's the worst.
God loves cities with mass transit.
Yeah, I want to talk a bit about, if I could, real quick. Is I think nowhere makes it more evident about how much you want to protect your kid is when they're in relationships.
Ooh.
Oh my god! just like all of my kids, their first relationship was an absolute fucking shit show. Like just an absolute shit show to varying degrees. Some very severe, some just not so much. But like, I'll give my youngest son as an example because he's 17 and he had this girlfriend that was just mentally fucking him up the entire time. And it was terrible to watch. And I would give him, and I said, listen, if you want to hear, I'll tell you what I think, but you have to make the choice of what's right for you. And I'm going to support you either way. And it's really fucking hard to know they're walking down this path that you can see so clearly is wrong. And they have to get through that. And it is the fucking hardest thing to just shut your mouth and be like, listen, if you want advice, I'm here. If you need support, I'm here. But it's fucking hard. And like my 17-year-old has this girlfriend now who's super sweet. We just met her the other day. My wife and I went down and we took them out to dinner. Really sweet, really nice to see him happy. And man, just seeing your kid going through a relationship where shit is going off the rails, that actually was the hardest thing for me to watch. And I don't mean watch like I'm a bystander. I am there supporting them, but it's something where like, listen, I'm here. Do you need me? No? Okay. but I'm here. And just being able to kind of just make sure they know that they have a safe space to go. And I'm going to pivot off of this is like the idea of like empty nest versus a thing that I heard somebody say on TikTok, which I think is brilliant, is empty nest isn't the thing. You're now at an open nest scenario where basically you let your kids go out and shit's all fucked up and shit's super expensive. And you tell your kids, if you need help and you need someplace to go, this house is safe. You are here. You are safe. We will help you. But it's an open nest thing. Like, how do you guys see that? Like JHG, some of your kids are younger. Yours are kind of in between teen years.
Yeah.
Jason, you have some young kids. How do you see the open nest versus like sort of empty nest thing? I thought the open nest thing to me was perfect, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, so like my youngest is 8, my oldest is 20. So I got like one guy. My oldest is in the Army, my youngest is in the 3rd grade. So but I think it's important for teenagers to have a shit show relationship, because it's gonna like give them an idea later on in their 20s or even 30s of what they can expect or what's for them. And so I would like to get the shit show out of the way as soon as possible. So when they're in their teenagers, early 20s, let them have that horrible dating experience, like that horrible boyfriend, horrible girlfriend, so they can like, hopefully they can get through it. Like, it's our job as a dad to help them sort of, it's a fine line for us as dads to guide them through it, because we can't overdo it or we're like an enemy. We can't underdo it or we're not there. So it's a fine line for us to walk, but I think it's important to go through a shit show relationship when you're in your teenagers and early 20s. And it's just a fine line for us to walk them through.
All human beings have to deal with a bad relationship, whether it be, a platonic one or something else. You got to get through that struggle and figure out who you are, because it helps to inform who you are as a person, the people that you relate to, the people you interact with, and how you create your relationships. Right. My oldest is about to be 17. He's going to be a senior in high school, and we haven't yet seen him form a relationship with an individual person that he's interested in, attracted to, what have you. But to your point, Doug, and I think this goes for a lot of dads now versus our parents who grew up, we are opening our hearts and our minds to them and saying, if you need someone to talk to, here we are. Whereas our parents, at least mine, I know mine, would never sit down and have a one-on-one talk about what I was feeling and how I was doing. That would fall on my mother if it ever came down to it. So we're now in a generation of men who are willing to have those conversations comfortably and willingly, if they so choose to have it. Right. We're not forcing it on them either. We're making that door open. So I like the idea of it being an open nest versus an empty nest, because it's a door that's always open for conversation.
Go
on.
I was just gonna say, like, quick. Oh, maybe not quickly because the way I talk. Sorry, but like, John, I totally agree. Just in the sense of like, one of the things, like, our parents' generation's like, oh, if they were your friend, they wouldn't treat you this way. Get over it. They're not going to be your friend. Move on. Like, I try and, like, for my daughters, I'm like, this stinks. I've experienced it. It might be a little bit different than you have, but if you want to talk to me, cool. If you don't want to talk about it, cool. But like, there are certain things you can do to like make yourself feel better or learn from the situation, as opposed to just the idea of like, oh, just rub some dirt on it. You'll be fine. If they're really your friend, they'll be your friend.
Right.
You need to remember what you felt when they were that age and what they were going through. Yeah. And so that will be more like, be empathetic and sympathetic, and just being like, oh, you'll be fine. Like, if they're really your friend, they'll still be there thick and thin. If they're not, well, they're not going to be around. Like, we need to like make sure that we're compassionate with them and try and show them like I'm there for you any which way you need me, and like let's talk about it. And if you need time to like just vent on yourself or write in your journal or do whatever, cool. But I'm still here if you want to talk about it, because now more than ever, everyone's got like phones and everyone can be like, just like, you know, Google or just search like, hey, I'm feeling this way. But you'd rather them come to you or your partner, or if it's just you, like come to you and like talk about things, as difficult as may be. They need to know that like you'll be there for them no matter what it is. So Mike, go ahead. But I just wanted to share what
No. It's a great point, and building on this thing, like so many points is lighting up for me. So yeah, mine's 32, right? He only moved out a year and a half ago. Okay, so we're just gonna sit with that for forward progress, however slowly is forward progress. He's doing all right, but he moved out for a minute to South Dakota. He had some opportunity lined up. He was going to do that. We always said, look, you want to, if it doesn't work out, you need to come home, right? About 6 months later, he called, and I know that was a hard call for him to make, but he made a call, 100%. We got him home, came home, did the thing. There's another point in there it's lost, but I'll tell you the funny thing too. He got married a year ago. So he and his girlfriend had dated 10 years. They got married a year ago. Bless them. They're wonderful people. And they live together now on the south side of town. I am enjoying the hell out of the relatively empty nest. Like the door's open if you need it, but damn, it's nice. It's good. It's fun. Greg, you've been quiet, and I'm pretty sure you're the other step parent here on the call. How's the? Yeah, no, did I get that wrong? Tell me I got it wrong. If I got it wrong, I'm pretty sure that's right.
No, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
You're right.
Okay.
Yeah, the
oldest
oldest.
About it in about 10 years. So how's that experience been for you?
Yeah, the oldest is out of the house and married. And
congratulations.
With a kid and all that wonderful
Okay.
stuff. Yeah. And he's made it back here, and he's going to be back here soon. So yeah, that's been interesting and fun, and
So can I call you Grandpa Porter now? I mean,
if you so choose.
No, that was Doug's beer that was aged as a Grandpa Porter, not
There you go. There you go.
Right.
Yep.
If you so choose. No,
Greg's not having any part of that.
Nope. Done.
No, I missed the question, Mike. Sorry.
It's I'm checking in with you on your experience as a stepfather this far later on in the process, right? Because you come in midway in the process, you're trying to figure out how to integrate into a family and blend a family at the time, right? Which has its own challenges. You and I talked about that at the Dad 2.0 conferences, but we haven't talked about it in a hot minute. Like where's your experiences been since? Yeah,
it's the oldest left the house.
Go back to the drinks. Okay.
No. The oldest left the house for a while because he left. Basically, he crashed out of this house on this side of the family, so he ended up going on the other side of the family. He came back last year after 10 years of being away, and it was really great time. It was healing for him. He said it was healing for me. One of the things that I took the most out of it, though, Mike, was that he said more than 2 or 3 times that, like, my influence on him was still strong, even though we weren't together and even though we weren't, like, communicating and all that. He's like, I remember all this shit you told me. I remember all this shit you told me. He said that a couple times. So it was really a interesting and fulfilling kind of feeling, because parenthood, as all y'all know, sometimes the benefits back, or the what's the word I'm looking for? Support. Yeah. or the gratification comes sometimes in mysterious ways. Not to say that, but really though, sometimes it comes when you're not really looking for it. It's not really that like, hey, you're a great dad. It's almost never that actually. So
the time
it's
delay on that is ridiculous, right?
yeah, it's
like
those
8, 10,
small
12
wins.
years you figure it out. That's so great to hear, man.
Right. So to hear him say those words was fulfilling. It was great. So, and he'll be back here in a couple weeks. So we'll see what he brings. He's, I literally just told his mom today, with all the respect, that he has moments of brilliance and moments of insanity. But that's always been our son. That's always been him. He's been that way since he was young. And now his adulthood's like that. So as long as I told him, as long as, you can be crazy and just, keep it. You got a son. You got to like back off a little bit of that craziness. And he's like, no, I know. So the parenting's always there. Now these two that still live in this house, these freeloader kids that don't know how to drive, I got, yeah. Well, the one just passed his test, so that's good. The youngest one is, wow.
They write their own journeys, my friend. They write their own journeys.
The driving part of this parenthood thing has been, it's been something.
My son totaled the car while I was teaching him to drive.
Oh.
Yeah. Now he can drive a tank though. So, but when I was teaching him to drive,
literally.
Now we can total other cars instead of yours.
There it is.
It's a phase and passes.
How do you total a tank?
Other thing I learned in Jason's teenager, and Art, something you said triggered it for me. That was the part of it. By the way, I guess since we're continuing to share and I'm continuing to taste things, MKT Distillery here in Texas, started by a friend on corn whiskey. Good fun, good stuff. We'll keep the small port going to have a fun night. The thing I learned.
Mike, I don't think I knew that you're in Lexington.
Not now. I'm in Houston, but born and raised in Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
So I came down here to go to school.
You have my sympathies for growing up in Kentucky, by the way.
It's not bad. The cities are good. Lexington was a great city to be from or to be there for a long time. There's a really boring period in the middle where you've done everything once, but you're not a local. But it was a great place to be from. It's a great place to have grown up. It is great for family. I would, if the right opportunities were there, I'd move back. But I don't know. So with y'all's teenagers, thing I learned along the way, all the things that I thought nobody understood when I was a teenager are written all over Jason's face. Like you see it clear as day. All the things I thought were obvious to everybody, that's what surprised me as a parent. Like that's what walked in the door and I didn't see that coming, right? But all the things I thought nobody understood, to your point, Art, the empathy of I've been there before, it's like, no, I've been there. I actually understand what you're talking about. Yeah. So it was a funny dichotomy how different that was when I look back and I go, man, nobody understands me. No, everybody understood that. But the things I thought everybody could pick up on, nobody saw that. It was like so black and white.
I also want to say that I'm turning 50 soon, and none of you guys have got up to go pee. I just went up to go pee for the first time, and I think it's amazing that no one's having to go get a bathroom break here.
Let me give you a little. What
do you think the empty beer cans are for?
No. I'm just saying, you do the pre-gaming of peeing before you start the show.
Oh, I do that too. Yeah.
Now there are times where I'll be like, when the show goes like, right now we're at 2 hours. When Zach Rosenberg is on, I have to fucking stop like 5 times to go pee because that motherfucker can go for 5 fucking hours on the show. But yeah, if you have to, Jason, please just go up camera.
Well, I just went. I have a drunk Zach Rosenberg story from a dad too as well.
Oh, please regale us.
It was in San Francisco, and I was in David Vienna's room with Zach and some other people, and we drank pretty much a bottle of Buffalo Trace. And the hotel that we were at, it was one of those hotels where you had to scan your card to get to the different rooms, right? And so Zach and I were both drunk and wasted. and we go down thinking that we pushed our buttons to our rooms, not paying attention. So we go down.
Well done, Michael.
Yeah. And then we go back up. Yeah, it depends. Nice. And so I think we rode up and down the elevator without going to our floors because we were drunk and not really sure that we had to put our key card back in the end. And there's one of those moments where like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If you were sober, we'd have figured that out. But we just kept riding up and down.
That must have been great because I'm sure you heard a whole. I'm sure you heard a whole soliloquy on video game soundtracks on vinyl because
in pink bathrobes.
Dude, I swear to you, I have never been in the same place as Zach Rosenberg, and that is a fucking bane of my existence. I would love to hang with that guy.
He's right behind you. Could you imagine?
That was a nasty hangover. That was probably my worst Dad 2 hangover the next day.
All right, so my worst dad 2. All right, I'm going to ask you what your worst Dad 2 experience was. My first, I got food poisoning the first day I was at Dad 2.0 in, God, I can't remember what city we were in. I think it was San Diego. I was rooming with Mike Cruz. Great dude. Mike, and
he gave you the food poisoning?
No, he did not. It was something I ate, and I went back to my room, and somebody had a fucking cart outside of their room with food that they were returning, and it had sat there all day. And I walked by it, and I was like, "I am gonna throw up." And I walked into our room, and I did not vomit somehow, but I went in the shower, and it was like Silkwood. I sat in the fucking shower, as hot water was just blasting me, just trying to not throw up. It was and then I'm just like laying in bed. That 2.0 is going on everywhere. I can't do anything. I am sick as fucking hell. And then Mike comes in the room. He's like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "I'm sick." He's like, "Do you mind if I record some podcasts here?" I'm like, "I don't give a shit, dude. I'm dead to the world. Just let me fucking." So he had recorded 2 interviews, and he goes, "Hey, are you okay?" I'm like, "I think I'm feeling okay." He goes, "You want to record a podcast?" But yeah, let's fucking do it. Let me just sit up. So yeah, that was actually it had nothing to do with anything bad. It was just I ate something that made me fucking nauseous and just fucked me up. So yeah, I don't know what that was.
Well, I have a worse Dad too. I don't want to bring it down too much, but I'll try to bring it down and like make a joke to make it not seem so bad. But it was the second time we were at New Orleans, and I had never had an anxiety attack before. So I started feeling one on Bourbon Street. And Doug, you were wanting to go back to the hotel. And I saw that you wanted to go back, and so I'm going to go back. And so because I could tell that something was wrong with me. And there was a lot of things going on in my life at the time. My marriage was failing, and like things with my kids, and sort of a lot of things going on all at once. And so I walked back with Doug back to the hotel, and then I had an anxiety attack that night. And I ended up calling in a hotline to help talk me through the anxiety attack. And then in the next morning, I was around, all the guys that I love and admire. And so it helped me get me through it. But that night, it was probably my worst Dad 2 night ever. But I get
making a call, man. Props for making my call.
Yeah.
My worst Dad 2, and bless him. He's in a better place now, and we always love him. So I'm gonna say this, but let's all remember that Dave Lester's actually a great guy. But Dave had maybe had a little bit much that night, and trying to usher Dave out of the way. This is before he
I was there.
Yeah. So trying to convince Dave that maybe he was done was probably the worst thing I could think of happening in a Dad 2 night.
Yeah. Good on him for sobriety, though. He's been
seriously. No, I'm impressed. He's good people.
Yep.
So
yeah, he is.
I don't have a worse Dad 2 moment. I have a worse Dad 2 sports ball fan.
Hey! Welcome, Aaron.
He's
Hey, listen.
back. Oh, yeah. I don't blame you. That was
Fine. We'll just win it at home.
I
yeah.
just want to say, Aaron, we just said some nice and some horrible things about you.
Game 5 is going to be different.
Yep.
We said nice. We didn't say a nice thing about the kids. The kids are doing good things between the sewing and everything else.
Have we discussed a substitute for Dad too?
No, how's the piano going?
I think we should all get together somewhere.
Great.
Yeah, I think that's been discussed multiple times, but I don't know.
We don't
if
need
we've had any-
panels. We don't need anything. We just
You
need.
don't need a sponsor.
I need a sponsor.
How about you
Yeah,
ask the
it's
Boston Celtics to sponsor you? That'd be great. Honestly, that'd be fucking awesome if they sponsored you. How fucking
Soon to
cool
be
would that
world
be?
champion. We're just gonna win it at home. It's fine.
I was just talking to Charlie Capon last week about getting some guys together in Austin.
Austin.
I love the idea that Aaron's going to be sponsored by his local gun club, though. Like that would be.
Oh, that would be awesome. Oh my god, that'd be great. Let's do that.
Wait. Look where I am.
Kind of ball.
Uh-huh.
Did you get that yourself?
Many much boosting.
Shot that moose in Alaska. Shit. I just knocked that down.
That was worth the entire show.
Is Porzingis like done for the season?
Yes.
Damn. All right.
Yeah, but they're still gonna win next game. Who gives a
I
shit?
know, but I was just saying, like,
Yeah.
It'd be
Yeah,
nice to win it at home. That's really, I mean,
No, it would have been nice to win it tonight, not on a fucking Monday.
yeah.
We'll come out with a little victory tonight. Doug's a Boston hater.
Yes.
He hates Boston irrationally.
I would wager that is not irrational at all.
It's irrational.
I've driven in Boston. Driving in Boston sucks. And so yeah.
No, New York is worse.
That's true.
No, I've driven in New York City and Boston. I think Boston's worse.
Maryland is worse.
I would say that the
Jesus.
Hey, I didn't do this, Aaron, just for the record.
Put that up. Greg put that up. I know he did.
Here's
Aaron,
the thing.
has anybody asked you this? Like, is it all on the same level? Is it like 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D? Like, where do you rank your teams for
Yes.
Boston?
What's your fandom for Boston sports?
Patriots, Celtics, Red Sox, Bruins.
Okay, cool.
I should
It
figure
used to be.
John, what about you, man?
It used to be Patriots. It used to be Patriots, Red Sox. But with this ownership,
Yeah.
John Henry is a abomination.
Yep.
Even though he's brought us 4 World Series, he's an abomination.
Yeah.
I would like to nominate the Red Sox ownership for all Boston sports, so they could just be bad the rest of my eternity.
John, what about you? Where do you rank yours?
For me, his former, so Patriots, Red Sox, Celtics, Bruins.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bruins and Celtics, I would go back and forth on.
Okay.
I don't really care about hockey.
You're not a big hockey guy?
Not a hockey guy. I'm a playoff hockey guy. I'm a fair weather Bruins fan.
I think
I'd admit the same.
fans are like that.
Love the honesty though. Love.
Oh, I miss you, idiot.
Likewise, man. As much as you and I fucking bitch at each other, man, I miss hanging out with you.
I do.
Aaron and I got to hang out together at Tom's in San Diego, and it was. I think it's probably the most Aaron and I actually hung out together.
Probably.
Yeah, it was a nice.
It was
time.
sad, but it was good.
Yeah. It was like, I think all of us that were there realized, I think that moment made us realize that we need to get together. Like we have
do.
to.
We need alcohol and company.
Alcohol, company, the guys that don't drink, can come too. Like,
They can.
Lester
I'll drink for them.
needs to come. But yeah.
So, Aaron, give us What was your take from Dad 2? Give us, your Dad 2 experience. We kind of all started that, and you didn't get your chance to do that.
I mean, New Orleans was my first and probably my favorite. I had never been in New Orleans before. I love the city. That was probably my absolute favorite. Didn't really care for DC that much, but San Antonio was kind of cool. We got to see Moby's jumped in a canal. That looked filthy. That was terrible.
Yeah.
But it was just, New Orleans was great because I got to hang out with Carter and Charlie and David and Andy in like a 2 a.m. whiskey session where I think we woke Carter up from a dead sleep. And then I just remember I was on a panel with Buzz, and I was like, I'm going to punch this dude right in the face. Like, I can't wait. I'm just going to slug him. And then he was really nice. He was like inherently non-punchable, and I didn't know what to do with all my rage from that. I ended up liking him against my will. But just like seeing everybody, I got to see Lorne, got to see Brent. I feel bad for Brent. I pretty much like jumped him and like borderline molested him, but that was fine. We did that. Like I'm not a real like huggy person either, but I loved seeing everybody. San Diego was actually fantastic because I got to hang out with Tom, and he and I got to bond there some. That was fun. I missed that guy. He was one of a kind. I'm sure you've talked about him already.
Yeah, we talked about Tom and we talked about Oren, but I think you had a very good relationship with Oren. And you want to talk about that?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think I was as close with him as anyone else. But the weird part about Tom was that, he was really, really good about staying in touch with people.
Yeah.
And he would drop me a line like randomly all the time, as I know he did with other people. And I always tried to remember that. And I realized, whatever it was, a little over a year and a half ago, that I hadn't heard from him in a while. And so I randomly dropped him a line, which is unusual for me. And I didn't hear from him. And then like a day later, I found out it was because he had passed away. And that was just kind of crazy. That one hit me hard. I mean, Oren hit me hard too, but Oren, I got to meet him at the Toyota. I don't know who was on that trip, but there was a Toyota trip where they brought us to Las Vegas, and we got to race Siennas and Ferraris on the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Wow. Got to hang out with John Willie and Jeff Bogle and a bunch of other people, and that was amazing. But that was before Dad 2, but it just made me want to meet everyone more because the experiences that you have with people are pretty amazing. And like, kudos to Doug for, putting that together. And, Doug and John were amazing for that. I really miss it. And I don't really miss hanging out with too many people. That's not really my thing. So the fact that I actually miss hanging out with folks, yeah, fuck you too. Not you guys. People are yelling at me.
No, it's Dan.
Yeah, so it says something. It says something about the community and about all of you guys that a misanthrope like me actually missed hanging out with people. See you later.
Yeah, I was saying, Aaron, before when you got off, that I didn't think I was going to like you. Because you're like I'm a non-confrontational person, and you're very much a confrontational person.
No, I'm not. Fuck off.
Yeah, but I think our little interactions that we had, like at Dad too, like I would like to hang out with this guy more and talk to this guy more.
Yeah, I mean,
so my introvertedness though, like kept me from like, hey, hi, I'm Jason. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I think we took a ride. Jay, you and I rode together at Tom's thing.
Yeah,
that was great. If that had been a different setting, that would have been really awesome.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's just you have all these people that but haven't met, and it's such a weird thing to feel like you have these friends who you've never actually met, but they're, it doesn't make it any less of a friendship. Honestly, there's stuff I've told some of you guys that I haven't told people in real life. So, I mean, it's a real thing, and it's a valuable thing, and I miss it. There should be a replacement for it. Someone needs to make that happen.
Yeah.
So AG,
go ahead, Greg. Sorry.
No, I was just going to share an AG story and then ask him a question. But do you have something to jump in quick here, Doug?
No. You go. I was just gonna blather, so it's fine.
My favorite AG. I have two favorite AG moments. I met you. Now I come to find out it was New Orleans that I walked into the mixer at the evening, and you were in the center of like all the tables, just going at it with everybody about the Patriots. And I was like, this guy is great, and I just jumped in. My second favorite AG moment was having like what was it, like a snack or whatever when we did the Star Wars thing with you and MJ. We sat at that table, and I like really got to know like who both of you were, and that was awesome. My question for you, Aaron, is this: as you said, you're not really this. I mean, you're a good friend, and I call you that for sure. You're a great person to have around, especially at these conventions. You're a ball of energy. It's great and it's fun, but you're not really. You're complicated for me, man, and I know you are, because you're not. I don't really consider you like this people person, but yet you're out here on this blog, and talking about. I knew you as this person who had this blog, and the whole journey about you and your wife, and all the things that started that, and I just don't see you as a very public figure. So you're the only person on this panel, and I'm pretty sure one of the only people in this whole Dad 2 thing that has kids that go viral. So I kind of want you to speak to that, because that's been a mixed bag. Whereas, the world has come to know Sam, and he's wonderful and awesome, and we love him. But there's a mixed bag there. So I kind of wanted you to talk about having, not only you go viral as yourself, how did that work with your kid, and how do you handle that as someone who's like, look, I don't want you in my business, but here it's complicated. So I wanted to give you some time to talk about that.
Yeah, it's real weird. Just yet on my way to Tom Brady night, we were stopped in traffic, and there was parking along the side of the road in my town, and I had my windows down, and we're stopped in traffic, and this random woman who I don't know was like, "Hey, have fun at Tom Brady night. Say hi to Sam." I had no idea who she was, none, and that's real weird to me. People have come up to Sam, especially multiple, countless times, and like tried to hug him and been like, "Oh, I love your sewing. I love all this." And to me, like, the rational part of my brain knows that, he's gone viral to the tune of tens of millions of views. So it makes sense that some people would see him and follow him. But for me personally, I have such low self-esteem, and I don't think that anything I write is good. So it always amazes me that somebody is following me. And like, I'm legitimately, it's not a humble thing. I think I'm shit. So it always amazes me that somebody is like actually following us out there. And I am always shocked. It freaks my wife out though. Like, people come up to her in the grocery store when I'm not there, and they're like, "Sam, MJ, how you doing?" And she's like, "Get the fuck away from me." So it's a hard part to navigate. It's also hard to navigate when they go viral. Like, Sam went viral, I think at 5 or something. Like, he was in kindergarten, and it's tough to have them not get a big head about it. We were on the train one day after he went viral, and he was looking around, and he goes, "Dad, why isn't anyone saying hi to me? Don't they know I'm famous?" And I was like, "Oh no, hell no." I'm like, "We're not doing that." I'm like, "You're nothing, dude." I didn't say you're nothing. Like, you're internet famous is not actually famous, dude. But then, we get put on the front page of a literal Nazi website too. So there's a downside to all this stuff. And what's the line? What's the cutoff? I mean, I don't know. Kind of navigate that on a real time basis. Sometimes it's scary. People call your parents' house. Our number's not listed, but they find my parents. They call my parents and ream them and say what a horrible son they've raised. They call your employer. They leave messages for your employer. So I mean, it's not all roses and sunshine. It's there's some real trouble spots there that you have to navigate. And I know,
man.
I know that I've lost out on opportunities. I know that whether it's job opportunities or job interviews or just people who think they know you from the internet, it gets pretty ugly sometimes. But in the end, I think there's more pros than cons.
You're telling me the internet is bad and ugly? No.
What?
Crazy, right?
But I mean, what you reminded me of is the fact that we're all making it up as we go. Like there's no playbook, there's no answer. You just
true.
Go with that and you figure it out. You've had your own share of bizarre ass little challenges to deal with. You talk about job opportunities. I'm trying to remember if all of your coworkers are still Gen Z, sort of 25 and under. At one point in time, that was Aaron's reality. Like grandpa. I love these stories, but it's you're right. Like, how do you help them navigate through that? How do you help them go through that? Props to you, man. You're doing all right.
Yeah. Yep.
But I mean, I think most of us have gone viral with some post or another at some point.
No. Not really. I mean, that's a flex. Let's be honest. That's a flex.
No, look at Jason's the handsomest dad blogger. I mean, we've all seen him. We know. I'm not alone in this. So I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird alternate reality that you just have to be in to know, and it's so freaking strange. But I keep all the emails that people have sent, like, this really helped me, or I feel less alone, because I'm pretty open about our struggles and stuff. And that's the stuff that keeps me doing it, because it's so nice to hear. Like when you know that you've, and it's never public, because a lot of people don't want to comment publicly on that they're going through that stuff. But it's always private messages and direct messages that are like, hey, this really helped me. I was feeling like I was the only one. And it's like, no, man, we're all screwed up. Like we all have this stuff going on. And that's the stuff that I love. Yeah. It never sees the light of day. It never, it's never really out there, but it's real, and that's what I like.
So I'm going to segue, because that's a great segue for me, because when I became a stay-at-home dad 12 plus years ago, one of the first things I ever read was one of the pieces that you wrote, which was about an apple orchard in Massachusetts, because I lived in Massachusetts. You remember that story?
Yeah.
Right? And it was one of the first things I read as a stay-at-home dad, where it was my voice. It was like my head. It was out for people to see. And so that was my first introduction to you as a blogger, as a person that was speaking in a dad's voice. And it resonated with me so hard at that moment that it bolstered me as a parent to know that what I was doing wasn't like nobody saw it. People saw it. You felt it. You felt it. You shared it, and so other people could understand. And I remember that orchard because I've been to that orchard. So
it's a nice place.
It is a nice place, but it never dawned on me at that moment in time that those signs were so exclusive, and it segmented out the dads. So kudos to you for putting out even small things like that. Has such a big impact on parents to be seen in those ways. And the fact that over the course of 10 plus years, you're still putting that out there and putting a voice to parents and for parents that are having kids that are doing totally different things than other kids are doing. I mean, that's very impactful. So I'm glad that, and to hear that you're saving the positive feedback and holding on to that and knowing that what you're doing is making a difference. That's, I mean, we all want that, right? We all want to feel like we're making a difference. So I can totally understand why you're doing that and holding on to those.
It means there's the heart under the asshole.
Yeah. Right.
But in all seriousness, like what this is highlighting, what we've highlighted through the night, right? Like for Aaron, for as much as a misanthrope you are, you're the friend I want when the chips are down, right? Like when you get through that, you know, like this is my ride or die. All of you guys on this call are people that I can call on, people that I know with the different perspectives to pull into that other process. Like I said, we're all making it up as we go. But how do you find somebody to talk to and go, what the F is going on right here? Like, how do I deal with that, right? Such a diverse group happens. Like these are the magical moments in life, right? When you find that group of people you can just call on at whatever point in time and figure out what the hell is going on, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think like
find that in your life. Sorry, Jason, go on.
No, I interrupted you. Sorry.
I'm done.
No, I think like the people that I call on are the dad bloggers. That when I go through shit, that I think every horrible thing that I've gone through in the past 10 years, I think going through just talking to the dad bloggers, my group, that my people that who know me know, you know, who I'm
and
free.
You've been through the ringer, man. I appreciate it. I know that. Yeah. Thank you for sharing it, but I appreciate it. Yeah.
Right. No, that I know that with the dad blogger community that I am free to express myself however it is, however ugly it is, however whatever phase I'm in at that moment of sharing, that there's someone that's like, like I think like we bring up Zach Rosenberg we brought up 10 times tonight. I remember I shared something to Dad Blogger group that I was going through some really bad thing, and he was like, of course, in all caps, like, Jason, he was like, Jason, you are the fucking man. Like, you are fucking awesome. And I was like, yeah, I am kind of fucking awesome. Yeah, and it was like, yeah.
All right, that's where you and I differentiate, because if someone told me that, I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm not. Like, I am.
Yeah. Let me tell you all the reasons I'm not awesome.
Yeah, right, yeah. I am that fucking imposter syndrome so goddamn bad.
Oh, I got that.
Yeah, but we put you through that at the same time too, Doc. I appreciate that you let us pull on you and pull that experience. Okay, that came out wrong. Tap into that experience over and over at the time. Like, you learn a lot in the process. I know. I think we've all lived through that imposter syndrome. Parenting is a great lesson in you're not going to be the parent you thought you were. Just forgive yourself about that, right?
As much as you want to be the parent you thought you were, you're not going to be. Shit will go sideways.
Right.
Every day you got to deal with that fact and just run with that, right?
Yeah,
we pull each other through it, right?
Yeah. No, I feel bad for my two youngest kids, because my two older kids, they got like the best version of me. But at the same time, like the two youngest ones, they get the realistic version of me. Whereas, I'm not gonna go talk to that parent over there because I don't want to talk to them.
What's funny is I'm the opposite. I think my younger kids are getting the better version of me because they realize that I'm like, oh, I fucked all that up, so I should really do better. So
the older we get, the less fuck I have to give about putting that veneer up. It's like, you know what? This is me and my realist. Like take it and learn from the reality of what we're doing here. Oh, thank God he's gone. No, I'm kidding. Take me at the realist where I am. You know what I mean? It's like, here's the transparency. Here's the reality of it. It's something over the years I've known Jay, 12 to 32. I'm married 20 years this year, right? But over those years, like, I've drip fed that in with him along the way. It's like pull him inside the curtain and go, no, this is what's actually going on here, right? I'm going to tell you things as a parent, but let me tell you why I'm getting here in the process. Let me tell you how the perspective on it. I think that's worked for him in the process, right? But it's so you talk about being the best and worst version of yourself. I think one is more create. For me, it was one is more created like the way I thought it was going to be, and the other one is like this is just where we're at. Like, I'm too tired to put the veneer on it. This is where we're at.
Yeah, the amount of audibles I've had to make are fucking nuts.
Yeah, my first 2 kids, I was the PTA president in school. I homeschooled for a couple of years. I coached soccer teams. My younger 2, they get the guy that sits in the car while they're while they're in at practice.
Yep. Scale it back. You just got to
Yeah.
scale it back.
And yet you're still connected. You're still part of
Right.
it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do y'all want for Father's Day?
Sleep in.
Fucking good night's sleep and some time to not think about work. like time is the best gift anybody can give me right now more than anything.
I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything. That's it.
I want to not cook.
Yeah.
I cook every day because I have to be mindful of my diet because of my fucking heart issues. So I have to be really careful about what I eat.
Mm.
I want to not cook. I want to. I just want to not do. You guys are saying not do anything. That's what I want to do. I'm a task focused individual, and when I'm home, all I think about is projects, and I can't get my brain out of that. And unfortunately, that fucking sucks. I want to sit and I want to read and I want to play video games and then I want to write, and that's what I want to do.
What video games are you playing?
And do it.
Yeah. What are you playing? What's on?
Oh, I have 3 different games I'm playing right now. I'm playing the Senua's
Halo
Sacrifice.
1, Halo 2, and Halo 3.
No. I'm playing Halo Infinite. That is one of them. But I'm also playing Senua's Sacrifice, which is basically a puzzle-based game. There's some fighting in it, not much. It's mostly puzzles. The thing is it is basically this woman who is descending into hell to rescue the person she loves, but she is descending into madness herself. So you are in the middle, like you play with headphones because that's the best place. But you are hearing all these voices going off in the back. It is really fucked up, but it's great for being.
Kind of like the reverse of Dante's Inferno.
I love Dante's Inferno, one of my favorite games. This is Dante's Inferno, but with a background of mental illness.
Gotcha.
So I love that. I'm also playing Alan Wake 2, which is fucking phenomenal. But yeah.
Greg, your face. It's just perfect. It's like, yeah.
Why is that a problem, Greg?
Who said it was a problem?
I'm on like my.
Why are you making it a problem, Doug?
I'm not.
Right.
Jay, she was laughing at you. So
that's
She's
the point.
making it a problem. Got it. All right. I'm just mad I didn't get to play my. I'm just mad I didn't get to play my transition, Doug. That's it.
We'll play your transition now, motherfucker. Let's
What
do it.
transition?
Damn.
Of course,
Nice.
That thing was so choppy. What happened? All right. So I talked about what I'm
the
playing.
production level of this podcast just amazing every time I'm here. Amazing every time.
I am playing a few months ago. They did Battlefront for PlayStation 5, and I used to play that all the time with my oldest son when he was little, and now he's in the army. He and I can play against each other, and so we play a lot of Battlefront.
Nice.
Doug, it's right here. Look, Doug.
Yeah.
So I'm an Xbox guy. What I discovered in June is that my Xbox Ultimate subscription had lapsed in March and I hadn't noticed. So it says something about the level of play. So I'm on like my 4th playthrough of Borderlands 3 because I love the game. It's easy. And if I go into something like Assassin's Creed or anything else storytelling, I will disappear and binge into it. And I don't have the time for that right now. Borderlands is fun because I can drop it, I can drop out, I can blow things up, or I can get into the story, and I know the story, and so that's you talk about games. That's what I'm at right now. I'm waiting for more cell shaded based shooters like that to come out in live.
All right.
Art, JC, anything? No.
Start like during like the May the Fourth be with you. They revamped and energized some of like the Star Wars games, like Dark Empire and a couple other ones. So I just bought those for like $4.99 on PlayStation 5, and I just started playing those.
Nice.
I'm playing this goofy game, Brothers. It's pretty good. You control two brothers with one controller. It's kind of a. It's not a.
That's curious.
I don't know. It's more like a puzzle game. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
I like that.
Yeah. It's not a shoot 'em in your face game, which there's room for those.
Yeah.
The trick is like what you carve time out for. Like I've always owned the back. I've never told people I don't have time for it. It's how I'm choosing. Like I own my decision. I choose where I prioritize my time, whether it's work, whether it's family, whether it's the thing. Fine, it's my own damn fault. Right? I am my own worst enemy. But it's like, how do you carve the time out for it? Where do you go? And I said there are games I want to play that I know if I get it. Like I've never played Fallout 4. Would love to, but you know what? If I started doing that, that'd be all I did for about 30 hours. I kind of have to earn a paycheck in the middle of this summer. Like I gotta pay attention to some other things in the process. I know me now, so it's like okay, I gotta leave that on the shelf over here. Gotta park that in the corner. Go play something that's a little more bite sized that I can come into and out of, because that's what I'm willing to make time for right now.
I'm playing this one too, Doug. You might like this one.
Have a nice death.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's just the video for it, but it's I don't know what you call. I don't know what y'all call these games. It's first person or no, a third person.
No, that looks like a platformer to me.
Well, that looked like a trailer. I'm not even sure anything about what the game is.
Yeah.
Give me another screenshot. Yeah, okay, I'm a platformer. It's a 2D side-scrolling platformer.
Okay, yeah.
Grind,
Yep.
solve puzzles, do things. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
God, we're nerds.
I will say there's one that's like a Cthulhu-based thing called, Still Wakes the Deep, which is a trailer that's coming out soon. That looks fucking phenomenal.
Nice.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
What's on y'all's movie list? We went and saw The Fall Guy last weekend. That was surprisingly good. Like I expected it to be good.
We saw that too. It was definitely fun. Such like a popcorn movie.
Right? Little bit of like thing for the summer. We also got Regal Cinemas, which is a chain down here. I don't know if y'all have it, but they do a all you can eat subscription that we've had for a long time, that we sort of weren't going to theaters, but still have the subscription. Looked at it and we're like, okay, so let's do a double header. So we went and saw that and Run Lola Run on the same day. It's like, okay, this is
the 25th anniversary.
Nice.
Hey,
the 25th anniversary of Run Lola
we're right
Run.
about there. Yeah, it was back in the theater, so we went and saw it on the full screen. It's still as weird as it ever was. Like fun, but slightly bizarre.
I've never seen that movie, and I should.
How are you guys not getting up to go pee? Like I am. Is it like an amazing thing?
We're camels, Jason. We're camels.
I've gone twice now. Like it's.
We're Dad 2.0 camels.
There you go.
Back to the medication. Probably one of these pills on the table that I'm taking every day sort of affects that point in the process. Actually, Doug, as a heart person, what's your pill count per day right now?
7.
Okay.
So I have 5 in the morning and 2 at night, and I, as some folks might know, Greg, you're going to chime in, or no?
I just wanted to say goodbye to Art.
Yeah.
Man.
See you guys.
Bye, Art. I miss you in New York, Art.
Art, it's great seeing you.
Take care of yourself, brother.
Yeah.
We love
Thanks
you,
for
man.
having me on, guys. Love you
Take
all.
care.
Have a good Father's Day, right?
Art.
Yeah.
The art of fatherhood, right? That's what's going on.
Wait, before Art goes, my favorite Art stories is Art and I were with a group of people interviewing Eli Manning, and so
fucking Eli Manning.
But
Right.
he's actually a really nice guy. He was super
he is.
nice to everybody.
He'd be the nicest guy ever.
He's
But
the better Manning too, Doug. He's the better Manning.
Art,
Go on.
Art, I know
Yes,
Art
he
has
is.
to go,
Yes.
so I'll try to get the story out there quick. So Art and I, in a group of like mom bloggers that are like around the table, and Art and I we're ready to go. We're ready with our questions. We're ready because we understand like Art's got that we understand Eli's got to get in and out. He does not want to talk to a bunch of bloggers. We know this.
Yeah.
And so Art gets his questions in. Art's first. Art asks his questions, and then there's another like a blogger, like a mom blogger that's there, and she's completely unorganized, and she's like digging around in her massive like bag for her questions, and Eli is just like he wants to get out of there, right? And she's like, wait, and Art and I are we're making eye contact, like, what the fuck? Like, we gotta, like, we understand the situation, and so she's digging around, and Art's looking at me like, go ahead and go. And so I'm about to go, and she raises her hand, like, and she's digging around her purse. And so finally she goes and asks her questions. Then it gets to me, I ask my questions. And it's like a round table, just like going around and around. And every time it gets to anybody else but Art and I, it's completely unorganized. Art and I were ready to go with our questions. We go to the point. We got follow-ups. Everybody else at the table. And the entire time, we're just making eye contact with each other like, what the fuck is up with everybody else here at this table? And it was my favorite art story because it's one of those that you have to be there. That we're making eye contact in the midst of chaos, and Eli's like, "I want to get out of here."
Dude, that woman, she had this big brown purse. You'd think she was Mary Poppins, like gonna be pulling out things from everything. Because you're like, where are your questions? And how do you not know that? Like we were put on this table. It's like, get your questions ready. And she was like, I don't know if she was like getting herself like makeup. I don't know what she was doing, but I was just like, oh my God, what is she going in there? Like, what's gonna come out of it? Like, she's gonna like get like a one of those like carousel horses, or like what's going on here? I'm like, she was asked the question.
She clearly didn't understand that guys want to get in and get out. So so she had to be ready to go.
And she was like, she had her bag like this, and she had like her head in the bag. And she had her hand up like this. As she's like running through.
This is at a mom too? Or
no, this was at an Oral-B like toothbrush promotion in New York City. It was like,
Oral-B toothbrush promotion.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. It was the funniest thing to say. Like, all right. And I remember
I'm gonna throw a name out, and if you tell me it's this person, I'm gonna laugh. Please tell me it wasn't Jesse Sanfilippo.
Oh no. She's getting her shit together.
No.
I feel like she would have her shit together. If it was her, that would have made me fucking just
No, it was funny because like I think he threw the football to your and Lance's kids.
Yeah, he played catch with my son. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were awesome, but it was just the point where I was just like, I looked at Jason, I'm like, just ask the question, man. I even said, I think one of the rounds, I'm like, we'll come back to you, Jason. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Good for you, Art.
Yeah.
Wow.
Love it.
Happy Father's Day,
All
gents. Thanks for letting me hang out with
All
you.
right. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you, man. Love you, dude.
Thanks, man.
Please take
Love
care.
to hang out with you.
Hey, JHG, what were you drinking there? Because you pulled up something that we hadn't seen. What is that?
Oh, rosé cask finished, straight bourbon whiskey.
Wow, nice.
Tell me more. Tell me a lot more. Where is it from? Where can I get that?
This is Penelope. I actually got this. There's a service called Flavier. I don't know if you've heard of it. Yeah, Flavier.
Whatever. French, whatever. I don't know.
They do subscription whiskey. And so the subscription that I have gives me 3 samples of something and then a bottle of something. So this came with that service. Really exceptional stuff. That I got another one called Starward, I think is the name of it, and it's from Australia. It was
Yeah.
amazing. So they really provide you some great quality stuff for you to try. Offline, I can share with you some pics of stuff that they provide. Like they provide you like a little vial for a taster.
Blood?
Of what?
A blood? Oh, okay.
Yeah, a vial of blood. I mean, it's really, really amazing the stuff that they send you. Yeah,
Sorry, I'm already deep into finding Penelope, finding them online, figure out the stores. Okay, they're in the stores.
Yeah.
Like I'm down this path, dude. That looks so good.
Penelope is a pretty expansive bourbon maker, but yeah.
Yeah, out of Bardstown, Kentucky.
Bardstown is a fun little place. I've gone there a few times.
Hey, Jason, you have been on a bourbon
amazing.
tour. You've been on a bourbon tour. Can you please talk about that bit? Because goddamn, I want to hear about that. Because I'm not a bourbon drinker, but please tell us about
So I've been on two of them. So one, to tie into the whole dad blogging thing, I contacted Kia when the Kia did one of the dad two like sponsorships, and they were looking for like a trip, like for some guys to pitch them trips. And so I pitched them a bunch of stuff, and they're like, we don't like any of that stuff. And then I pitched them like, well, I want to go on the Bourbon Trail. Could I drive the Kia Stinger? And they're like, yeah, sure. That sounds great.
What?
Yeah. So
wow.
I don't want to say too much about that, in public, but I went on the Bourbon Trail on the Kia Stinger.
I'll say that for those who don't know, the Kia Stinger is like their little sports car. I drove that in New Orleans.
That's like the Kia version of a Corvette.
Right. Yeah. So I will throw in that I never drove drunk. I had someone with me and we alternated. But I did drive 100 miles per hour quite often. So we went on the Bourbon Trail and I rode about through with Kia, and then I went back again a couple of years later, and it was amazing. My favorite though were the small guys. The small distilleries were a lot more fun. Like the one we went to, they're actually beer now. It's called Limestone Branch, and they have a Yellowstone, a bourbon called Yellowstone. But at the time they were kind of small. But we went there. My brother-in-law, he's a photographer. He went with me, and we went in, and so the guy our tour guy was just not into it. He was just with him and the two of us, and he kept answering his phone call, and I was getting kind of annoyed. And then he's like, then along the tour, he's like, yeah, my grandpappy just died, and so that's why I've been talking. And so, you don't have to do this tour with us, like. And he's like, no. And so we went next to one of the distillery bins, just him and my brother-in-law and I, and we just got shit-faced, like with him talking about his grandpappy and drinking different types of bourbon, and that's probably my favorite memory of that whole trip. But I was just back there. I was back there last year in Lexington, and it went on a couple of trips. Yeah. I love that whole. I love the whole, I love that whole area. That Lexington, Kentucky. I think that Kentucky gets kind of a bad rap, rightfully so. But the Lexington itself is it's a lot of fun, and a lot of little bourbon distilleries. That are a lot of fun.
I wish Town Branch bourbon was better. To say that it's for the city I grew up would be great.
Yeah.
Problem is, I don't like the bourbon, but
yeah,
it's there. But no, I appreciate that. Like that's awesome.
The whole drive, it's 20, 30 distilleries all within 50 miles of each other. But Bardstown is a lot of fun. Like there's a restaurant there that Old cowboys used to stop in and shoot up the wall and things like that. And old James gang used to come into this restaurant and shoot up the wall, and so there's a lot of fun stuff in Bardstown.
All right, so we could go a million hours on this. We're almost at 3 hours already, and I feel like we haven't scratched the surface on everything. But anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap up?
Well, I think why we were all decided to come here is because of dads too, and I think ever since that it ended that we've been missing something, and whether it's I think we need face to face. Like it's we all enjoy our dad blogging like chat rooms and things like that, but I think there's something about meeting face to face and hugging each other, and and I think that's something that we need.
So I'll be selfish.
Go.
I will be selfish, and I will say to you that Home Dad Con is a space where dads can come, regardless of whether they're at-home dads or not, and share in that camaraderie and that brotherhood of fatherhood. And if you are inclined, that would be a place to go. This year, it's in St. Louis. It's in October of this year, the 17th to the 19th. They are going to kick things off on the 17th, Convention Eve, and they'll run things through Saturday, and you can enjoy the sights and sounds of St. Louis and hang out with a whole bunch of dads who are just there to do what Dad 2 does, which is really appreciate fatherhood and what we do and how we do it, and learn from each other. I think that's the core of what Dad 2 did. It's what Home Dad Con does. Is it brings together guys that have shared experiences, whether they share it out in social media space or not. They all share those same experiences, and you can really learn and grow from being there.
So yeah, I first of all I see Michael Kaufman. Michael, I miss you too. We live near each other. We should hang out and at least get coffee together. As far as at home dad, I love October is a hard time for me, but
sure.
I loved the dad at home dad conferences I've been to. It's maybe this year, maybe I should relook at that. But I love the at home dad conferences that I've been to.
Because to go back on I don't want to prolong this a lot, but to the conversation earlier about the trans panel, Home Dad Con provides those kinds of panels about learning about other parenting experiences and sharing in the knowledge and giving knowledge to guys who may not have been exposed to those kind of families, those kinds of family dynamics, those kind of parenting. And we've found it to be a very open environment for that, and a very accepting environment for that. So I would encourage guys who are still looking to find that kind of brotherhood to give Home Dad Con that opportunity, because it may not be about blogging, and it may not be about, sharing yourself in a social media space, but it shares in the camaraderie of parenting and being a father and understanding what that's like. And guys who aren't necessarily going to share it online, you can share your ideas with them and how they can, better support their family, maybe they do want to do it and they just don't know how. You just don't know until you go and you try it. So
I'll pick up on the back of that. First off, thanks to Greg, Doug, and Jason for pulling this all together. Number one, like it's been a treat to be here and see everybody again. Like 100% thanks. I look back at a surprisingly long life. And it's sort of, I'm not quite Doug old, but I'm close. I've got the gray hair. I just need the length. There have been multiple epics for me. Like we've talked all about the magic of what Dad Tuner, Dad Bloggers was for us. Before that, for me, it was South by Southwest Interactive. In the early days of blogging, when it fitted for private, like there was Blogger Spring Break that you go to and meet all the luminaries before that. Before that, frankly, I was in college, and those are people I keep up with. At many epics and eras in our life, you have those people you hold on to. So I encourage all of you or whoever's on the line to find that community and hold on to it wherever it is. It's okay that it transforms and transitions, right? Like Dad 2 had its era for me. I didn't make the last DC one. Kind of that era part. Those people are still people I hold near and dear to my heart to this day. But as all of our lives grow and continue, we go to become grandparents. God help us all, and more in the life of like the community can morph, but find that community and hold on to it wherever it sits in the process, right? And call back to the people who were back when, but at the same time, it's okay if it grows through this. I'm trying to do the math in my head on a party bus to do the bourbon trails or the craft bourbon trails through that. Like how epic would that be as a face-to-face trip? But it's always a treat to come back to those points and those anchor points as a point in time in our life we can reference back to where it was, right? Like as I keep plowing along through my life, I don't always have the people who knew back when. You guys are part of my back when crew as well as my now crew, right? And so I can kind of rewind it and reground myself in where things were in the process. So it means a ton to me to be here tonight with all of you on the chats and commenting into this. They have friends of friends and new friends have been in the process. Wherever that is, find it and allow it to morph, but find it and hold on to it. Clearly, I've had enough drink tonight because I could go on for another 20 minutes here in the process. By the way, the last four was a Red Breast 12. So if we're gonna close this off, we're staying at the whiskeys because the beer's in the fridge and I have to go off camera to get that. So we're staying with the whiskey that's behind me. But it's been a treat. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Okay, I can feel the dead air if you really want.
I think just seeing you guys it's been nice. It's nice to talk to you guys, and I'm kind of drunk right now, but
welcome to the club.
I know. I miss the interactions and hanging out, and hopefully that can happen again.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll do more.
I think this will be a Greg. I think you are in agreement that we will make this sort of an annual thing.
Yep.
All right.
You can mark it on your watch like this.
You had to play that sound.
Go, Greg. Go, Greg.
The gay agenda.
Again or the same one? Again or the same one?
My daughter would love that the gay agenda just came out right now.
Look at that. I love the dogs with the laser beam eyes. That's great.
That is pretty
and
fantastic.
This guy. Look at this guy. He's great.
That's great.
Double IPA. That is great can art. This is my Doug.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really
I drank two of the single cuts and one of the Heaven Bison, the single cut. But if you guys ever in Queens, New York, I will gladly go to single cut with you.
100%.
We got a New York City trip to plan, Doug.
Yeah, right.
We do.
Daniel Fisher.
We do.
Calling Daniel Fisher.
You can stay with
Doug,
me. Stay with me if you come to New York.
Look at that.
Oh.
It's a free place to stay.
Yeah. And I can get you drunk too. This is going to be fun, Jason.
That's
true. I am going to have to.
True, Lauren. True. Very true.
Doug, before Jason and I talk more naughty talk, get to the.
Yeah. So this is one of the coolest cans. You can't really see it too well, but it is like this s'more beer. It's called Toasted.
Ooh,
It has like this really cool, like
very cool.
You can feel like the raised of the, yeah. So it's a toasted, basically a stout with coconut and toasted marshmallow and graham cracker. So
where's it from? Who like
from
where?
Frost? It's from Frost Brewing Company out of Buffalo, New York.
Okay.
So that's not a bad beer. My next thing was probably Nordic Frost, which was an Icelandic style Bock. So I like Bock beers. I've been in Iceland. Iceland's fucking awesome. If you can't go, it's super awesome.
Yep.
JHG has been there. You can attest. It's a great country to visit.
Indeed.
Let's go.
So my second favorite was this fucking 4-year-old Dragon's Milk. All the adjuncts fell out. It was still a decent beer. Almost tastes like a malt beverage, but really good. It was 12.5 when I got it, so it was probably much higher.
Woo!
But I will say my favorite beer was this. It was a Pilsner. Nice. It was a Frame Pilsner, which was, again, the gold medal winner for the World Beer Judging. God damn. It's an American beer that beat out Pilsners from the place that Pilsners were originated from. So if you're beating out almost all those, and then, yeah, this is super good. Oh, and I also had, just start out, this Cooper's Black Walnut aged bourbon. So
who the hell is typing? Jeez.
That would be our guy. Mike is using the. Listen, I know people can hear me type, but Mike is using like here. I'm gonna use a clicky. I'm gonna use a clicky clacky cleat keyboard.
Clicky clacky.
It's actually not the clicky keys. That's even more. These are tactile keys. If we're gonna get, there's a whole other show if we're gonna get in keyboard switches. Let's not go there.
No, we are not.
No, we're not going.
We're all 3 hours in. We're not going to end the keyboard.
Not going there.
JHG, what did you have to drink?
Had the Black Marble Stout. Very solid stout. Not a lot of adjuncts or anything like that. Just straightforward. Very tasty.
How was the nitro element to that?
Not too bad. It fared pretty well for this one. Okay. I mean, it was canned in Ireland, so it wasn't done stateside. So, and then the Penelope Rosé cask finish,
nice.
Cooper series, very tasty. I actually finished it off tonight, so
sweet.
Exactly, and that's what I've had.
Coffee, Mike.
Oh Lord.
Mike, you want a gambit of things.
So I'll tell you, probably my favorite of the night, which is weird for the Kentucky boy. My favorite of the night is still the Aquavit. Okay, so this is the top of the all board. Very, very, very dominantly caraway. It's rye bread in a bottle. Great if you keep it in the freezer. I just had it warm. It's great we have it in there.
Look at Greg's face.
Yeah.
Greg has also had a rye bread beer in Philly that was like, it tasted like rye bread. It was the worst beer I've ever had.
You either love the caraway seed or you hate caraway seed. I love it. I'll come back to, but I'll come back to play and look to keep it on topic with the porters. I did have the one beer tonight. The rest are in the fridge. Bourbon Barrel Ale from Lexington. Wonderful, wonderful little beer. Great fun. I'll come back to so there's a documentary on Netflix or Hulu called Neat, right? But at the end of it, and they're talking to one of the master distillers of Buffalo Trace, and it makes a point. It's like he pulls out a really expensive bourbon, he cracks it open with his father and his brother, and then he puts it back on the shelf. His dad's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I'm saving this really, really nice whiskey." He's like, "Don't ever do that. Whiskey's meant to be shared. Like the magic is in the bottle when you share it with friends." Okay, so as much as I've gone through all these and told you my favorite drinks, all of these are favorites because of stories I've had where I've shared them with people, or when I get to pull out of the bottle and share them with people tonight. So it is a treat to have. It is a treat to not drink alone in my house. It is a treat to have friends to drink with tonight, and that's what makes the memories of the bottle. And that's why I come back to this one, because of the memories in that. So thank you all.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
By the way,
Doug,
that's
you
my
wanna-
first 12 Irish whiskey. But okay. Anyway, go on, Greg.
Doug, you want to talk about next week?
Next week, we are really fortunate because we're going to have the only Hispanic female-owned brewer in the United States on our
How is
show.
that the only?
Wow.
Only.
Lady
Only?
Lager, Rhythm Brewing out of Connecticut. I have worked really hard to try to get her on the show because she's so crazy busy. So Alyssa Mercado, and I am so excited to have her on next week. It's going to be so much fun. So yeah,
What a
It's
treat.
gonna be great.
That's awesome.
All right, y'all. Y'all have a great Father's Day weekend.
I just want to say I
Father's
love you
Day.
guys, each one of you. I love you guys.
Same.
And,
Love
I
you, man.
appreciate you.
Right back at you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. Seriously, this has been just fun to kind of, not really a memory lane thing. I don't think that's kind of what it is.
It's
Just
catching
going-
up. It's reconnecting.
catching up, reconnecting, like you said, Mike. That's exactly what it
What?
is. So,
Doug, what's wrong with the memory lane thing?
no, I just think it's like we were just kind of. It wasn't just memory lane. It was more like we were all just kind of reconnecting. It's like picking up where we left off. That sort of thing.
Okay.
Love
Doug,
Doug.
we got to meet in the
Memory
middle
lane,
somewhere, Doug.
What's that, Jason?
Don't hate on memory lane. Don't hate on
Oh,
memory lane.
now your audio goes out, Jason. Come on.
Right
try
at
that
the very end, the last moment.
Yeah, because I wanted to hear what you had to say, Jason.
Storm's brain.
I understand
Lauren,
that,
you're
Doug,
part of the friends
you
of
and I,
the process.
Doug, you and I are probably 4 hours away from each other. 4 or 5 hours. We should meet in the middle sometime.
Not even 3. 3.
3 hours.
Yeah. Bingham,
Doug,
Bingham
where are
Jason.
It might be two. It might be two if you go 100 in a stinger.
I'm not going to go 100 in a stinger. I'm
I
fucking
gave this
old. I
to
can't
the
drive
man.
that fast.
I'm just saying.
I'm driving a minivan now, so no.
Oh yeah, so 4 hours. Okay.
So we need to have Daniel Fisher get together the New York City trip, Greg, because I think that would be awesome just to go through all.
Stay
the
with
New York
me.
City
Stay
breweries.
with me. Come on.
Yes.
Actually, what y'all need is like the U.S. map with the push pins for where all the previous guests have been from the show.
Yeah, we're not going to do the fucking the thing from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where the guy was doing the fucking push pins with all the red fucking yarn. Not doing that.
I don't know the art, but just tell me where all the previous guests and previous friends have been in the process. So when I go off to California, I go off to Oregon or wherever you got people, it's like, oh, I know you've been on the podcast too, right? That would be fun.
We have a lot of people, so yeah, it'll be fun.
I get that. I'm trying to make Daniel work here. So Dana's got some shit to do here. Okay, anyway.
And on that note,
Bye, guys. I love you. We'll
Love you guys.
hopefully talk in person soon.
Yep.
Happy
Yep.
Father's Day.
Happy
Happy
Father's Day,
Father's Day.
everybody. Take care.
cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.